Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Bikes for Death podcast. As always, my name is Patrick, and I am your host. And on today's episode, we are talking all things Central Texas Showdown. And to help me do that, I've got a couple great guests. Today on the podcast, I've got Andrea Roelofs and Javian Quinones, who have both participated in the Central Texas Showdown. I was in San Antonio for an event with Texora. While I was there, they let us use their podcast studio to record this podcast. So I want to give a shout out to Texora and Emerge and Rise there in San Antonio for hosting us and letting us have this conversation in your facility. And really want to thank Andrea and Javian for coming on the podcast today and sharing their experiences with us. For those of you who don't know, the Central Texas Showdown is the second race in the Texas Showdown series. This year is our third year for Central Texas Showdown, and we are 60 days away from the Grand Depart, which makes it the perfect time to put a bug in your ear and put some information out there for anybody who is already registered, and maybe entice some of y'all who haven't registered yet to go ahead and sign up. We got room for you if you're interested. So just a quick overview of the Central Texas Showdown. The dates for this year are October 23rd through the 26th. The Grand Depart is on the morning of the 24th, and we meet at the Castell General Store in Castell, Texas, which is really a special little town in Texas. If you've never been, it is definitely worth an experience. It's a town with a population of 13 people. So the start and finish line is really cool, really unique. And at Central Texas Showdown, we have 4 different route options for you. 2 of them are competitive, 2 of them are non-competitive. So starting off with the competitive options, the bad boy, the long one, is the Central Texas Showdown. It's 501 miles. This year, it's a little bit longer due to the fact that I made the death loop longer. So now the death loop is twice as long as it was in the first 2 years. And like I said, the total miles is 501 miles. Moving on to the next competitive option, we have the Slowdown, which is 293 miles. And then our non-competitive options, where we encourage people to just come out, ride their damn bike, meet some new people, hang out at camp, and enjoy the Texas Hill Country at your own pace. We have a lot of people that sign up for these lowdown options that are first-timers, beginners, and we love that. If you're looking for an opportunity to go bikepacking for the first time, we think this is a great opportunity to do it in an environment where other people are around, a little bit safer. We also have rescue vehicles that can come pick you up if you need it. So for the lowdown, it's 173 miles with 2 group camps available. And then we have the super lowdown, which is 89 miles, 1 group camp, and you break it up into 2 days. So that's a brief overview of the Central Texas Showdown event happening in just 60 days. And that is what we're going to be talking about on today's episode. But before we get into it, let's take a moment to thank the people that made it possible, starting with our latest batch of patrons. This week, we'd like to thank Chuck Willox for signing up to be a sustaining member of the Bikes for Death podcast. And if you would like to support this work, you can find out more over at patreon.com/Bikes for Death. Now, today's episode was also made possible, as I mentioned at the top of the episode, by Texora. And I've got Alex Brown here, the president of Texora, to tell us a little bit more about his organization. All right, Alex Brown, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Patrick.
You are the president of Texora?
Yeah. Founding director, Texora, or Texas Outdoor Recreation Alliance.
Okay. And what is Texora? How long you guys been around?
So we're a year and going 8 months now. Texora is an outdoor business alliance, which is very not well known, relatively new type of organization.
Yeah.
It is a 501c3 that essentially connects and represents and has to elevate Texas's outdoor business industry and recreation community. Yeah. So those 3 really big pillars are kind of what we focus on.
Yeah, I mean, this is huge. Like Texas, I live here. I've lived here my whole life. But I mean, we are, falling behind in the outdoor recreation space. There's a lot of opportunity that we see other states taking advantage of. So if I understand correctly, Texora is in the mission of essentially bringing, business to the Texas economy. Like, how can we, attract people to come and recreate here?
Absolutely. Yeah. Outdoor recreation does so much for the community, from building community resiliency to helping others understand the importance of protecting our natural areas, to human health and well-being. I mean, there's a ton of benefits to it. And I think really in Texas, we have a strong culture about outdoor culture.
Oh, yeah.
I just don't think, we just really haven't done a tremendous job of connecting, that outdoor culture with, there's a ton of businesses that survive in this space, a lot of mom and pop businesses, a lot of smalls, and that requires resources and support and kind of championing. Yeah. So really, I mean, that's kind of an easy way to say, we're really trying to champion this outdoor recreation economy, and what it does for a lot of communities around Texas.
Yeah. And so, I mean, one of the things that y'all are doing right now that I think is really top of mind for me and a lot of people in the state of Texas is that we're actually here in San Antonio. We're at Emerge and Rise. They're letting us use their podcast studio here today. But Texora is putting on a fundraising event for the Texas Hill Country flood. And so, I mean, as an entry point, for people who don't live in Texas, I mean, it made national news, but how devastating was the flooding event that happened on July 4th in the Hill Country?
Right. It's hard to put into words. I mean, everybody's seen the pictures, everybody's seen the images, but huge. I mean, when we talk about an outdoor economy, outdoor community, I mean, it really is the kind of quintessential image. You've got the beautiful river running through a lot of rural communities, but the devastation that occurred, that's really the area that we are looking to help rebuild, through our messaging. That is what our fundraiser is for, is to help restore, rebuild the outdoor community there. But it really is, I mean, saying outdoor community makes it sound like it's a separate community of it, but it really is just those folks, the community that lost so much.
Right.
And it's not just, again, it's businesses, buildings, it's infrastructure, roadways, trails, natural areas. I mean, so much has to take a lot of time to rebuild. And our role there is to really just help make sure that we can bring back the outdoor community as best as we can. So whether it's helping small businesses or getting really that infrastructure back in place so that events like yours can take place and that community can partake in all of that, and benefit in the way that they do from your races.
Yeah. For people who don't know, the Central Texas Showdown route goes directly through Kerr County, Camp Mystic, Kerrville, the places that were literally ground zero for the most devastating impacts of the flooding event that happened. And for that reason, I mean, I always look for ways to try to give back through my events, specifically to the area, the region that the races take place in. And this is a great cause and something that through the Showdown series, I feel like we can give back and help move the needle a little bit in that way. Obviously, I'm sure people can still contribute to the fundraising efforts.
Absolutely. Yeah. And especially with aligning with your race and that coming up in October, we want to keep things going. We know that this is a long road ahead for this community. And so again, people can continue to contribute at, we have on our website, texora.org, Hill Country flood response. They can find all the information there about how they can help contribute. And we are going to keep that, like I said, going up to your race in October and beyond to help.
Well, yeah, man. Thank you for coming on, telling us a little bit about Texora.
Yeah.
Appreciate you bringing me out and giving me a place to podcast today.
I did want to add the connection with your race, the Texas Showdown series, and especially the Central Texas Showdown is, when you came into our attention, your part of your mission was introducing people to the outdoors and that exposure and how that transcends into the stewardship and appreciation for what we have. And that was really where we saw, you understand the community level power of the outdoor recreation economy and the ability of just getting people outdoors, how much it can do. And that was really where we saw like this creating, exposure around that and getting people to buy into that and getting behind that, and that it's all different, but it starts with just getting outside.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm promoting ride your damn bike, but on the, beneath the surface, my biggest mission for Bikes or Death is to create outdoor activists. And right. I think the way that you create outdoor activists is by creating outdoors people, right? Like when you introduce people to the outdoors, they're more passionate about it. They're more, they feel like,
a responsibility to protect it because they know that the value that it has not only in the state but in their personal lives. And so you're creating people who will advocate for those wild places, and not just in Texas. It's really important here, but our national parks are like our crown jewel,
Exactly.
of the United States.
Totally.
So we have to protect them.
Huge. And that's a big part of this mission, is really helping people to understand that, and just that this dynamic exists, and just building this outdoor economy better.
Yeah, 100%. Good stuff, Alex.
Yeah,
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah,
I will
appreciate it.
obviously link everything to Texora and to the Hill Country Relief Fund in the show notes, so check that out.
Good deal.
And we'll see you tonight at the event for fundraising tonight.
Looking forward to it. Thanks,
All right,
Patrick.
Thanks, buddy.
Appreciate it.
And just a quick reminder, at the end of this month, September 19th through the 21st, the first ever Ride Your Damn Bike Festival is taking place in Fayetteville, Arkansas, with a expo on Friday that includes beginner-focused bikepacking workshops. On Saturday, we'll have a grand depart for the Fayetteville Ultra Circuit, a brand new ultra race. And I, along with Noel Battle from Bikepacking Roots, will be leading a community overnighter. And there is also a gravel dirt option. So just a quick plug for the Ride Your Damn Bike Festival. If you want to come ride your damn bike with us in Fayetteville, Arkansas, you can sign up and find the link for that in the show notes. All right, ching, ching, ching. The bills have been paid, and now it is time to get to my episode with Andrea and Javian. But first, let's have my friend Miles Arbor kick it off with the Bikes for Death theme song.
You load up your bike, you ride away from home. You could be with your friends or you could be alone. You ride for a day or maybe more. You just love being in the great outdoors. Everything you need is strapped to your bars, including that new pillow you got from Santa Claus. And then you think, oh shit, to yourself. You left that super lightweight tent on the living room shelf. Bikes or death. Bikes or death. Podcast.
Above your expectations for the studio?
Yeah, the studio. I mean,
Yeah.
everything. It's
Me too.
Super cool.
Me
Yeah,
too.
it's nice.
I don't think I've ever recorded in like a real podcast studio before. All right, what are we working with here? What are we working with?
A little loosey goosey.
My nephew
gotta-
asked if there's going to be swearing on this podcast,
Yes,
and
I
I
hope
almost
so.
did.
I hope they're swearing. I encourage cussing because it makes me not look as bad. If I have a potty mouth and everybody else has a potty mouth, then we're all terrible human beings. But no, I do. I cuss probably a little too much. Who asked that? Your nephew?
Yeah, because he likes podcasts, more story-based ones. I was like, I'm going to be on podcast. I was like, you could listen to it. He's like, well, is there going to be swearing? I was like, I don't think so.
How old is he?
He's 9. He just turned 9.
And what's his name?
Brooks.
All right, Brooks. We're going to try to make this a PG-13 episode of the Bikes for Death podcast, but I'm not making any promises. Have y'all ever done a podcast before?
No, I have not.
So funny enough, I never done a podcast in my life. This is my second this week.
What was the other one you did?
It's a podcast called Strides.
Okay.
It's a trail running podcast here in San Antonio.
Oh, cool.
So I also run, and so was asked to be on that podcast.
How'd your other podcast go?
Great. Talked a lot about my knee surgery that I had, so I'm going through recovery and just trying to get back to running and cycling.
How far do you run?
Ultra distance. So
I mean, the longest I've ever ran is a half marathon trail run in 2018. And then I quit running forever. I was like, fuck that.
Yeah.
I never want to run again. And I didn't until like 2 months ago. And I just started picking up running again. And it's actually, I'm kind of getting into it.
yeah.
But I had to take an 8-year break. But I guess my question is, I'm not in the ultra running world. What qualifies or constitutes an ultra run?
I think most would agree anything more than 26 miles or a marathon.
26 miles. Okay. Yeah. So marathon and marathon plus is ultra.
That's right.
What's marathon plus in cycling, do you think?
Great question. I'd say more than a century.
More than a century. What do you think, Andrea?
I would agree. I've had this conversation with some friends before. Like, what's the equivalent of a marathon in cycling? I think at least like a century. So I guess like ultra cycling would be more than 100.
Yeah,
definitely more than 100 miles.
Well, welcome to this podcast, the Bikes or Death podcast. You're becoming a professional podcaster now.
I'll take it.
So Javian and Andrea, welcome to the podcast. Appreciate you guys coming on today and chatting with me in your home city of San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
Just as a way to start, let's have you guys introduce yourselves a little bit. I mean, basic information. Where do you live? Where do you work? Andrea.
All right. My name's Andrea Roelofs. I live here in San Antonio. I've been here about over 10 years. I've been here since 2014, and I'm originally from Michigan.
Okay.
I work for the state of Texas, the Health and Human Services Commission. I do program and policy development work, and our program serves adults with disabilities and older adults who have been affected by abuse, neglect, and exploitation and lack capacity.
Oh, wow. That sounds like a heavy job.
Yeah, the work that especially our field staff do, it like the situations they encounter are definitely sad stories, and, see some of the worst things that can happen to people in our state and stuff like that. But I am proud of the work that we do to improve their lives and advocate for them, to protect them and improve, their circumstances, make sure they're taken care of and not taken advantage of.
Yeah. No, it sounds real important. My girlfriend is a social worker, and so it sounds like there's some adjacent type.
I mean, my degree is in social work,
Yeah.
And then we do it's called guardianship.
Right. Okay.
We do.
Very cool. Javian, what about you?
Yeah. Name's Javian Quinones. I'm not from San Antonio, but been here the last 10 years from a small town called El Campo, Texas. It's just a small corn and cotton town, not a lot there, but moved over here for school and just been here ever since. For work, I work at HEB. Been with HEB for 15 years.
Oh, wow.
Now. So in HEB, I support our home delivery operations. So if you ever see those like red HEB vans driving around San Antonio or Austin, that's my team.
Yeah. For people who don't know, because the podcast goes outside of Texas and it's worldwide, tell people like how big of a deal HEB is in Texas. And I know you're biased, but I think we would all agree HEB is like the best.
Yeah. I mean, I would agree too. HEB is the best. I mean, it's an institution right here in Texas. You think Texas, you think HEB probably first, right? I think a lot of people would.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I have nothing but great things to say about HEB. Again, 15 years, and they've been great to me every single year. And, I think the biggest thing that people probably think of when they think HEB is just how we support the community. We'll probably talk about that here in a little bit, but we show up strong.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I mean, first off, I've been looking for a connection because I really would love HEB to sponsor the Texas Showdown series. So I'm going to put a pin in that, and I'm going to bug you about that later.
Okay.
But I mean, it really is a perfect segue. I mean, today we're here to talk about mostly the Central Texas Showdown. And in light of the conversation about Central Texas Showdown on July 4th, there was a historic and significant and tragic flooding event that took place. And to date, I believe the number is over 160 dead and 2 still missing. I just Googled it this morning. And all that took place within the matter of hours, but the recovery efforts and everything took a lot longer than that, and are still ongoing in many respects. And one of the things that I remember seeing on Instagram, and I followed it very closely because the Central Texas Showdown route goes directly past and through the areas that were the most affected by the flooding. And HEB got there before FEMA got there. Yeah. And they have, I mean, and this is one of the things that, like, as a resident of Texas and as a customer of HEB, it made me feel really good to know that, like, HEB, like you said, I think the word you used are they show up, and y'all have an entire disaster response recovery team with huge trucks and supplies. Why don't you speak to that?
Yeah. And we have a disaster response team. And, it's like a mobile kitchen that goes out. I believe each store has a team of partners that helps respond to that. With the recent Kerrville disaster, there was overwhelming support and partners reaching out to say, hey, how can I go out and support this disaster? And so this one's a little bit different than kind of others in the past, right? But this one specifically, I can think of, partners being partners and showing up, for their community. So it was really cool to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you say partners, you mean like the employees, right? That's what employees are called?
Yeah, that's right. We call partners partners. Yep.
That's a good distinction. Yeah. They call their employees partners.
Yep.
Yeah. Good stuff. Yeah. I mean, it almost made me tear up whenever I saw that. It just, it hit really close to home, and the flooding in general, I'm sure we can all agree, just, really was impactful emotionally. We actually had this podcast scheduled for like a month ago, and I was actually like too emotional to have that conversation at the time. I actually called it off like the morning of. I woke up and actually went to bed that night, and I was like, I'm in no emotional state. And also at that time, it was like the recovery efforts. They were still looking for people. Families were grieving. And I'm like, now's not the time to be like talking about a bike packing race. And, I do think that there's a lot of good that we can do through the Central Texas Showdown route, but this is try number 2 for today's episode.
Yeah. It's, when we face tragedies as a community, like the appropriate, like at that time, it's maybe not like talking about like in reflection, because it's still like very happening right at that moment, of course, the waters weren't flooded as much anymore at that point, but just still,
the families were grieving,
like what happened and like the effect of that on our community, and just empathy for the people that were directly affected for it, for sure.
Yeah, and I wanted, give some time for people to grieve and for the relief effort to be focused on that and recovery. And now, I am looking towards like October, when the Central Texas Showdown is coming, on ways that we can use that race as a way to benefit the community and draw awareness to any degree that we can. After today's podcast, I'm going to go and actually, I haven't been over to Kerrville since it all happened, but I need to scout the route and see what roads are open and bridges and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, before we get too far down the road, Andrea, you said you moved here 10 years ago from Michigan.
Well, I'm originally from Michigan. Before I lived here, I actually lived in Chicago.
Okay.
And I was doing like union organizing work up there, and I got laid off because of this Supreme Court case, and wound up in Texas after that. I had never been to Texas before, like didn't know anyone in Texas, but I decided to come down here, and I've been here ever since. So,
were you a cyclist prior to moving here?
Yes, I started riding when I did live in Michigan. My little brother actually like rode when we were in high school, and was always like, oh, your brother's that kid that rides his bike to school. And then like eventually, like when I was in college, people were like, oh, you're that girl that rides her bike to school.
Nice.
So I started like bike commuting when I was in college in Detroit, and then just continued riding ever since.
Awesome.
So nowadays I say like I took a break from cycling like as a teenager rather than started cycling like as an adult, just because I did ride a bike as a kid.
Right. I'm wondering if you, because I'm from Texas. I've lived here 45 years. Javian, you're from Texas, right? El Campo, you've been here your whole life.
Yep.
I'm curious, like, how is the riding different in Texas than what you experience outside the state? Did you have to modify your riding at all, or are there any like discernible differences to riding in Texas?
Well, I would say I became more like a athletic cyclist like after I moved here. Before when I first started riding, I just did biking to school. I mean, of course I rode in colder temperatures, like I've ridden in the snow and different things like that. But then over time just kind of got more curious about cycling and like getting faster, started like meeting people that rode faster, and bought like Lycra shorts and stuff like that. Like when I started, didn't do that. But nowadays, like, because I ride more here, like I just went to Michigan in July, and me and my brother rented bikes, and like I'm like, man, there's so much places to ride in Michigan that I've never got to explore because I wasn't like as into cycling then as I am now. So that is something I'm like, man, I missed out on like so many cool adventures in Michigan, but I was happy to ride my bike there, and there's a lot more sand and bigger trees, which is nice. Here in Central Texas, there's not huge trees or anything. And obviously a lot hotter than other areas.
More hotter and more humid. Actually, I don't know if we're more humid than like Michigan because they're
probably not, like, because they have the lake.
Yeah.
The lakes that
probably pretty humid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just not as hot.
Well, as residents of San Antonio, I'm curious, where do y'all like to ride? Like, what is your favorite riding style to do? Or do you have a favorite ride? I guess, Javian, we'll start with you in San Antonio. What's your favorite riding to do in this area?
Yeah, so I hate driving, right? So any ride that I can leave my front door and just get out on the road, that's my favorite route. I live on the northwest side, like right across from UTSA. So I have a really great entryway into the edge of the hill country, right? So I can take my normal route to Bernie, to Comfort, sometimes. And I basically just do that loop pretty consistently. Sometimes I go to the south side for some of the group rides that we have in town. But most of the time I'm doing the same loop out to Bernie, or if you're from San Antonio, Cross Mountain Loop. So,
and tell me about your cycling club. You're with Dog Speed?
Josh is going to get a great laugh out of it. Good Speed.
Good Speed.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to.
And tell me about your cycling club. I believe it's called Good Speed?
Yeah, it's Good Speed Racing. Basically just a bunch of friends that found each other through fixed gear riding and kind of just grew up together the last couple of years. But more just, dudes riding bikes and racing, more than anything. But it's a good group of guys. Yeah.
So what kind of like racing do you typically do? Obviously, I know you did the Central Texas Showdown, but what typically, like, what if you enter an event, what kind of events are you typically entering?
And anything that lasts longer than a day.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm more of the ultra, kind of long distance dude, along with Nick. Nick's like a Swiss Army knife, right? He can kind of do it all, but I get dropped like any crit race or like fast group ride. So where I seem to excel is just the stuff that lasts like 12 hours plus. That's where my legs come in.
Me too. Except for I don't excel better than other people, but in terms of my own, where I know I'm good, like short, fast, not for me, but long distance, I can manage a little bit better.
Yep.
Andrew, what about you? Like, where do you like to ride in San Antonio? What's your more normal riding like?
So like him, I live on the opposite side of town. So I live on the southeast side of town, and I also prefer just riding out my door. I live right by the Salado Creek Greenway, which San Antonio has like a pretty large network of paved trails. So, if I just want to take like a more chill ride, I'll just go out to the trail system. It's shaded. And then I do a lot of group rides in town that go south typically. I do regularly more road riding, but I do prefer like gravel riding overall. It's just harder to get out and do it.
Yeah.
I ride with Mujeres Cycling. We have a racing team and a club here in San Antonio. So we're a good group of women that ride together every week, and we do racing, things like that. They've kind of dragged me into some crit racing this year. Been up to the driveway a handful of times, which I've been having fun, I would say. I'm not like huge on crit racing, but like the driveway has actually been a pretty good time.
Is it scary?
It's a little bit scary.
I've never done it. It seems wild.
I would say the driveway is less scary than other crit racing just because of the track. The track and the way the corners are different than like a 90-degree turn like on the street.
I guess everybody in Texas probably knows Driveway Series, but for people out that don't live in Texas, what is the Driveway Series?
The Driveway Series is a race series based out of Austin, Texas. I'm probably not doing it justice. I think it's like one of the biggest crit race in the state. It's a weekly race. I think they start in March, and I know right now they're doing a summer series. Some of my teammates are racing today. So usually it's on Thursday nights, but right now they've done a Saturday series. So.
Yeah, correct. I've been out there and photographed it, but I've never participated. I would like to one day. It looks like a good time. Also, I'm scared.
At least for the women's field, it's like smaller, so it's less scary.
Yeah. How would you rate the cycling community and cycling infrastructure in San Antonio? 1 out of 10, 0 out of 10.
You want to go first?
You can go first.
I'd rate it a 7. You know, I mean, I haven't lived in cities like Austin or Houston.
Right.
You know, I'm coming from small town El Campo, so
Or like Portland or Denver.
Yeah. So I'm looking at it from only having lived here, but like Andrea said, like the Greenway network here in San Antonio is incredible. It doesn't fully circle the city, but it gets pretty dang close where if you're trying to get somewhere, you can get somewhere safe by staying on the Greenway. And then the cycling scene here in San Antonio, I think is incredible. I mean, there's so many different groups that really support each other, like Good Speed, Fast Times, Mujeres. And I could go and name a whole bunch more, right? Friends with Bikes. It's a great community. And everyone's really trying to encourage, you know, hey, it doesn't matter what type of bike or what speed you're going, like just come out. And that's what I really love about the San Antonio cycling scene.
Yeah, it's one of my impressions. My a good friend of mine lived here for 5-6 years, and so I'd come and visit him, and we would ride the Greenway. There's a lot of mountain bike opportunities, and then obviously if you get outside of Greater San Antonio, there's some really good. We could call it road riding, or there's some dirt riding, but we'll get into the dirt. But dirt is harder to find in this part of the world.
It is
For sure.
You got to really look for it. All right, Andrea, what's your rating of San Antonio?
I would rate it as similar. Like, it's definitely nowhere near like cities like Chicago, or I've never been to Portland, but I'd imagine like I've been to Seattle, Chicago, things like that. There is more infrastructure for like that day-to-day riding. I don't think we have great like commuting infrastructure. But in terms of like the fitness cycling community, like the people are super supportive. I feel like San Antonio overall has like more like less serious vibe than like other places. And I just think, I just love like the people in the cycling community and our support for one another, and like, the connections we have. Like, I know we haven't really talked before, but I mean, I know who you were and we have talked, but like, you know, we're connected through the cycling community, even if we don't know each other like super well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. I like the chill aspect.
We're very chill. San Antonio.
Yeah, I can get down with that. All right, let's a fun question. A dream bike trip or bike event that you want to do. Javian, you're up.
Jumping ahead, West Texas Showdown.
Oh, I like you. Good answer.
Yeah, West Texas Showdown. As soon as you announced it, I mean, that's like, you know, I think everyone kind of has a love for West Texas.
Yeah.
I know I do. So West Texas Showdown. Other than that, my father-in-law and my wife lived in the Netherlands for a good time. And so just being out there and riding, they always talked about like how the cycling is like in the Netherlands. Yeah. And so just maybe going out there one day and riding.
Oh, that'd be epic. All right. Well, I'll get you your $20 for that good answer after the podcast.
You got it. Wink, wink.
But honestly, like I am curious. West Texas is everybody's eager for it. I get it. I'm excited about it too. Why are you personally excited about that? Why is that at the top of your list?
I feel like I just have a personal connection with Big Ben. I have a background in like backpacking, and I mean, I go there probably like 4 or 5 times a year, just because I love it so much. The reason, and we'll get into it in a little bit, right? But I had to finish Central Texas Showdown because I remember you mentioned on a previous podcast that you were only going to, like, let's say you had to finish a showdown event to be able to enter West Texas.
Yeah.
And so I had that in my head, like, there's no way I'm not getting into this race. And so that pushed me past to the finish line.
Good. I hate to tell you, but I'm getting rid of that requirement. I think you already knew that.
And it's okay. I mean,
but I'm glad it helped you. I'm glad it was a carrot.
It really did. It really did.
Yeah, I mean, I had to rethink that. I mean, I'm making this shit up as I go along.
Yeah.
And I'm only talking to myself in my brain. And sometimes I have good ideas and sometimes I don't think things through all the way. But it occurred to me, what I'm trying to do is make sure that we're bringing in qualified applicants and individuals into a very harsh, remote, treacherous environment, right? Like it's very important from a safety and event management standpoint to make sure that people know what they're getting themselves into. But if you can only get in by entering, East Texas or Central Texas, then, Ustinas from Lithuania, he's going to have a hard time going to West Texas Showdown, and so I'm still going to find a way to make sure that we're curating the right experience level riders to participate. But I did go do away with that as a mechanism to make sure other people that live in other countries or other states would be able to also have access. So,
yeah, and I'm not mad at it.
Yeah.
I needed that at mile 400 or whatever
For
it was
sure.
to get me there. So
yeah, you got to have a carrot for sure. All right, Andrea.
Then trying to think dream rides, right?
Yeah.
That was the
Trip,
question.
ride, event. Yeah.
One of the events that I would like to try actually is in Michigan. It's called the Third Coast, I think it's called, or Coast to Coast. Sorry.
Okay, I've heard of that.
Yeah, the Coast to Coast. So basically, you start on one side of the northern part of the Lower Peninsula in Lake Huron, and then you end at the other side at Lake Michigan. So you go across the whole state. It's 200 miles of single track dirt. I think that would be just an awesome event. I think as a race to complete. I've never done that before. So.
And what would be your approach to that? Would you I'm going to try to win it, or
No.
I'm out there, I just want to see it and enjoy it?
I would be to finish it. I definitely would want to. I wouldn't want to camp or anything. I'd want to ride straight through, but not racing against anyone but myself. My approach, I would definitely have to train. I've done the longest ride I've ever done is 160 miles, but it was on pavement. So
Contiguous.
Yeah.
Not multi-day,
one
but
ride.
one
ride. Yeah. One day. But I've never done overnight riding, or I've never done that distance on unpaved terrain, which I know is obviously much more difficult than just riding 200 miles on the road. So
Yeah.
definitely a big goal. I'm just turned 37, so that's kind of something I want to do before I turn 40. So.
Nice. Now I'm making goals before I turn 50, which is a lot less fun than doing them before you're 40.
I heard one of the gentlemen before we started today, he was when I was middle-aged, I was a runner, and I was is that how I'm going to talk about myself? When I'm his age, when I was a middle-aged cyclist.
Yeah, it's weird. I am middle-aged, but I don't feel it. But
Me neither.
I reject that. All right. Let's move on to the Central Texas Showdown. Dun, dun, dun. So just as a starting point, what events in the Texas Showdown series to date have you participated in? Javian, we'll start with you.
So I've done the East Texas Slowdown.
What year?
2023. I believe it was 2023. And then
no one's going to fact check you.
Yeah. So the 2023, 2024, obviously, right? We're in 2025 now.
Yeah.
So 2024.
Yeah, you did CTS.
CTS, and those are the two events.
Did you do ETS in 2024?
No, I did not.
Okay, so you did 2023 ETS and the Slowdown, and then you did the Showdown on CTS.
That's right.
How did the Slowdown go on ETS?
That one was tough, but more because of the weather. I remember getting super cold at night, and then that really took me out. I was with Annabelle and Alvin and a couple others. Slept in a post office that night and kind of came back to life the next day and finished it out. But it was cool. That was my kind of foot in the door and kind of the longer distance riding. And then, I was really scared of Central Texas. And so that's why I signed up for that one. Yeah.
We'll get to that in a second. I'm curious. I think that's an interesting note on East Texas that it got cold. And I've heard that from a lot of people. And I think that's valuable information to put out there because I bet you were surprised by that. And I think a lot of people were surprised that it actually gets cold at night. It can.
It was super cold. And then obviously, you're sweating, all of your gear is wet from the sweat. And so the cold comes in and it's basically just, freezing you. And then once I start shivering, it's really hard to get me to stop. So yeah, got to the restaurant and I forget what little small town with that post office, but was able to warm up and basically get to it the next day.
I'm going to guess Kennard, but that's just my guess.
That does sound right. Yeah,
right.
That does sound right.
It sounds about right in my head, or you might be. All right, Andrea, what's your Texas Showdown historicity?
Okay, I've completed both Central Texas Showdowns. Or not showdown, distance. I've done the lowdown twice for the 2 times that you've had the Central Texas event. I did sign up for East Texas one year, but it was that year that maybe it was the same year, but it was like rained. It was like cold and like puddles. I was like, no, that's not for me. And I also had like gotten road rash from like a fall like that week prior. And I was like, yeah, this does not seem like a good idea for me. And just cold, rain, and wet.
And lots of mud. There was a lot of mud that year.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, or fortunately, whatever, I don't know. I can't control the weather, but East Texas is gaining the reputation for being a mud fest. Yeah. And it has rained the first day of East Texas Showdown 4 out of the 5 years that we've hosted that event. Which is just the luck of the draw in the spring in Texas. The one year that it didn't rain, it was freaking glorious, man. And like I've been so stubborn because I'm like, should I move the date back like 1 week, But I know if I move it back 1 week, then it's just going to rain that week and it's going to be like sunny. And so I'm just stubborn. I'm keeping it. Maybe.
Roll the dice.
I will say like that area is beautiful. I've ridden in like the Davy Crockett National Forest and the it's just beautiful out there. The trees and it's just very picturesque, like the roads out there. It's a worth signing up for.
I love that you've ridden out there because the question I wanted to ask both of y'all is the thing that I think is cool about the Texas Showdown series is that I'm intentionally trying to highlight different regions of Texas, and it's so big that on the east side we have the loblolly pine trees, and it's like nothing. It's actually unique in the United States. Like it's a really unique part of the world, and then we have like hill country getting into like more of a rocky deserty type environment in Central Texas, and then obviously West Texas is like a mountain desert environment. I'm curious out of, from between riding in East Texas or riding in Central Texas, it's hard for me to pick a favorite, but I'm curious if y'all have a favorite. Some people are like, oh, I definitely prefer this. And some people are like, I don't know. It's nice to mix things up. But do y'all have a preferred like area of Texas that you like to ride in?
For me, it's easy Central Texas.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the piney woods are great, right? But there's just something special about the Texas Hill Country. The landscape, the cows and the sheep and the pastures that you're rolling by, the remoteness of it to where if you're riding at night, you can look up and, kind of see the Texas sky. I think that's, one of the best parts of the entire route. So the fact that you get to circle pretty much the entire Texas Hill Country, it's an experience.
Yeah. Yeah, I do wonder. I think for a lot of people, visibility is one of the things that they factor in because if you're just stuck in 100 to 150 foot loblolly pine trees, you don't see very well. You got to really like trees, right? You're just going to be canopied by trees like the whole time. But when you come out to Central Texas, hardly any trees. You're lucky to find a shrub to hide underneath if it's like hot or something like that. But the visibility is great. I mean, you can see for miles and miles and miles, so. All right, Andrea, you're in the hot seat.
Yeah, I would say I like appreciate them both for the same reasons that you're saying. You can't beat like the views in the hill country, just like the the distance that you can see and just like the rolling hills and there's no like there's trees, but it's more like shrubs and things like that. But it's beautiful. And then there's like river crossings, so you can like cool off in the river. It's just it's just beautiful out there. The Piney Woods area is also beautiful, but yeah, if I do like trees, so like it works out for me. But I do think both events highlight different parts of Texas very well, and I like them both. And I've ridden in West Texas too, and I feel like you can't go wrong with any of those areas.
Yeah, you can't beat West Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I've been going out there for 30 years now. Like, it's just, I'm like with you. I go out there at least once a year. Have to. It's just always calling. What was y'all's motivation for signing up for Central Texas Showdown? You said you were scared, or what was the word you used?
Yeah, I mean, I was terrified. I had never ridden that far in one go.
Which in 2024 was 472 miles, 475. Let's just call it 475.
Right, 472.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and before that, it was the ETS, right? So 270, 280.
Yeah, 280 on the slowdown at ETS, and then CTS was 472 on the showdown. So yeah, 112 miles extra with more climbing.
Yeah. So for me, it was really just trying to find a new ceiling. The 280 was cool. The 280 didn't scare me enough for the slowdown at Central Texas, so I really wanted to push the limit there and see what was possible.
Yeah, and you placed in the top 10. Were you sixth place? Was that right?
Fifth or sixth.
I
was like a couple minutes behind Drew.
Oh, Drew, out of Austin,
right.
Eckelberger. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, Drew. Took me a second. He's been on the podcast before, but it's been a minute. You know his story? He was like, he left Louisiana, was like cycling around the border of the United States, and he got to Austin, and he just like never left.
Yeah.
Shout out, Drew. What's up, man? Why did you sign up for? So you signed up for Central Texas Lowdown both years, the first 2 years that we've done it.
I was kind of hesitant to sign up actually because
first year.
Yeah, I've done a lot of bike packing trips and like usually organize them for me and my friends. And I was like, well, why am I gonna like pay someone money to like ride my bike, and I can just do it on my own. But then I actually volunteer at a state park here, and your friend used to work there.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. And he was like, I don't know. We just were talking about it during a volunteer work day. And I was like, yeah. And then his wife, Emily was like doing the volunteer thing. So I'd like signed up to volunteer, but then they didn't need me anymore. Oh. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to ride it. And honestly, like I had a great time. I'm so glad I signed up that first year to do the lowdown and paid money to ride my bike. It was definitely worth it. It was so much fun meeting like people from throughout, not just Texas. There were people there from Colorado riding. There are probably other places too, but I just remember a group from Colorado. It was like a lot of fun meeting other people that do bike packing in Texas, and to hang out. One thing I love about cycling, especially like bike packing, is just you're forced into these situations where I'm like, I'm going to spend all weekend with you. Like, I've never met you before, but we're going to like spend a lot of time together. And I think as adults, we're never really in those situations very much. But with like cycling, we are like forced to spend, like really get to know people in a different way than we're used to, like, just like meeting up with someone or, different ways. So I had a lot of fun that first year. So, and then the next year, one of my friends, Carissa, was like, oh, she signed up. And I was like, man, I can't do it. Like, if you're doing it, like, I have to do it too. So I signed up again for the lowdown last year.
I love that you talked about the paid, like, why would I pay to go ride my bike? And I would like to say, if you go to TexasShowdownSeries.com, all the Ride with GPS files are there, and anyone can download them. And it is you can go ride these routes anytime you want. And I love for people to do that. But for you, like, so the value was mostly in just like getting to meet and like hang out and ride with other like-minded.
Yeah. And also as someone that organizes camping trips for my friends, like I enjoyed not having to do any of the logistical parts. I just had to show up. I didn't have to worry about like where other people were, like where so-and-so, like I didn't have to worry about all that.
Yeah,
so
Patrick will go pick them up. You don't have to do anything.
Like, here's the emergency number, you figure it out. Like, so I really, like, that was a nice mental relief for me, just to like, man, I can just like ride. I don't have to worry. Like, I just have to worry about myself. And that was, I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can sympathize with that. As an event promoter, I'm jealous. I'm like, I want to just go do that instead. But that's all right. It's a good.
You can try it sometime.
It's a good. I have to do ITTs. Maybe one day, whenever if my staff gets big enough, I would like to like ride during the event. I know Bobby did that one year. Bobby Wintle at Mid-South. I think out of the 13 or 14 years, he's only ridden at one time, and his staff all got together and like really worked to make sure that he could go.
I'll invite you to my next bike packing trip.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. Do you do that through your cycling club, or is that just separate? It's just something you do for fun.
We have like an unofficial SA bike pack group that it's just been like rotating people over the years. I started bike packing in like 2018. That was when I first started. Yeah, it was just a group of friends, and over the years, like new people come, or like people not leave, but like people's interest in bike packing, like wanes and stuff. Yeah. But yeah, we have a nice little group.
It's hard, bike pack, it takes a lot of time and money. And if you have work and family and stuff, it can be hard to leave for a weekend.
Yeah, we do like just the weekend trips usually. We haven't ever done like a big week thing or anything like that.
Yeah.
So
I'd love to come ride with you. Yeah. I want to just go to events. I'm like, yeah, anyway, that's a whole nother, but most of the stuff, like even locally, there wasn't much of a cycling club. So I recently started a cycling club just to find other people to like ride with in my community. And that happened actually after at Central Texas last year, we had like 13 or 14 people from my home city. And then this year at ETS, we had like 14 or 15 people from my home city. I'm like, where are all y'all where are all y'all fools coming from? So I didn't even know like I had that many people in my town that were like adventure cyclists. I'm like, all right, let's get together and ride bikes. So as local riders, I'm curious, to live in San Antonio, how much of the Central Texas Showdown or Central Texas Lowdown route, like how familiar were you with those roads in the area that I took you on during the event?
I'd say I wasn't really familiar at all. I do frequent like the Frio River area, like Garner State Park. So I've driven those roads, but never taken my bike out. The furthest I've ever gone out is Comfort, right? And that's just kind of maybe touching the route and then heading back into San Antonio. Right. But most of the route was kind of unexplored for me. So first time riding those roads.
Oh, I love to hear that. What about you, Andrea?
It was the first time I had ridden out. The Lowdown route is more northern than the Showdown route goes. So anyways, I've never done part of the Lowdown route before, but since the event I've actually been there a few times. I've gone to the campgrounds, like car camping and stuff like that after the event helped me get out there and explore more. The southern part that you did, I have been to Hill Country State Natural Area and ridden around there before.
Yeah, Garner State Park, Leakey, Utopia, all around there.
Yeah, I've driven those roads, but then like the route goes through, Bandera and the Hill Country State Natural Area. So I've done routes. I bike packed to Hill Country State Natural Area, and then also like driven there and like rode around there as well. There's some gnarly roads out by Leakey and stuff like that. The hills out there are crazy.
Like gnarly climbing or gnarly like roughness?
The climbing and just like the twisty turny of the roads. Like, did you hit that like was it light out or dark out when you hit that area?
No, it was 3 a.m.
Okay.
I think whenever I was descending those hills past Leakey, and like there's just one huge hill. I feel like it took like 20 minutes to climb straight up. And
you have a really nice descent before that, though.
Yeah. No, I mean, it was cool. I mean, pitch dark, and you're hearing your hubs, and you're doing the twisty windies, and I told my mom about that. She had a heart attack, and you were doing what at 3:00, and but it was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite sections. I mean, for people listening, the part on the southern end of the Showdown route, the part we're talking about like starts around Garner State Park around mile 225. I'd say between 225 and 245, somewhere in that range, is some really good riding. I mean, it's challenging, really climby, really twisty, but also really beautiful. It is a bummer because if you're going fast, which you were, and a lot of people doing Showdown, they're doing it because they're pushing it. You're gonna hit that section at the wee hours of the morning. Everybody will.
Yeah.
If you go a little bit slower, you could catch sunrise.
Yeah.
That's when I would be hitting it if I was gonna go. So for people who are not familiar, maybe interested to come ride and check out what Central Texas is all about, how would you describe the area, the roads? Like, how would you describe it? And I guess, again, Javian, you did the Showdown, which is much different than the Lowdown. For listeners, in 2025, this year, the Showdown is now 501 miles. It used to be 78% paved. Now it's 74% paved. So I've increased the gravel by 4%. So we have 26% gravel now. Cool. And then the Lowdown route is 176 miles. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, like somewhere around.
Let's say 175. It's something like that. Break it up over 3 days, 50% gravel, 50% pavement. So they're very different routes. The views and everything are very similar, but in terms of riding condition, very different. So yeah, with that as a starting point, how would you describe the route that you did?
The easiest way to say it is just beautiful, right? I mean, that's if I had to pick one word, beautiful. And that's most of the ride, I felt like I was seeing sideways, just trying to, keep power on the pedals and just push forward. But when I did actually, was able to look up and like check out the scenery, it was special. But yeah, lots of barbed wire and pastures, and I think I can't remember if there were much flowers, like like the wildflowers on the side. I don't remember if there were much of those, but in my memory, I feel like they were there. Yeah.
That's such a good point. I don't think people who don't do ultra endurance cycling and specifically do it in the manner of trying to push yourself, you don't realize how, like, because you think you just have hundreds of miles where you're like bored out of your mind, but you're so busy managing your body and your nutrition and sleep and where do I get the next thing, and like you're busy in your mind, and so it's easy to just put your head down and kind of not see everything, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I don't, it took me 52 hours and I don't know where 48 of those hours went. I don't know where I was up here, but I ended up getting there.
So it was the last 4 hours when things got hard?
Yeah. I mean, I have a story about like running out of lights and getting into, is it Castle?
Castel.
Yeah. At night, and I didn't have any lights because I wanted to start the death loop as soon as I got in, but I didn't have any lights. So I decided to sleep in my truck for daylight and then finished it whenever I woke up.
Oh, I remember you taking off and Annabelle was there cheering for you. That's and right. Stuff at the break of dawn. I remember you rolling out. So that wasn't planned. You just ran out of lights.
Yeah, I ran out of lights. Yep.
Yeah. The death loop, I guess that's worth mentioning. The death loop is what I extended. So the entire Showdown route is identical. The only thing I did is I doubled essentially the length of the death loop, and it's mostly all gravel now. There's a tiny bit of pavement, but it's mostly gravel.
Nice.
So the death loop's going to be a little more deadly. It was just a little too easy. What did you think? It was kind of a short death loop, right?
Yeah. I mean, I had like really bad knee pain for pretty much half the ride. I mean, there were hours where I was just using my left leg to pedal.
Yeah.
That's how much I was going through it. So for me, that death loop did feel like a like a death loop. But I'm glad to hear that the guys doing it this year get a little bit extra on top.
Yeah. Well, you need to come back out and do it too, but we'll talk about that in a minute. All right, Andrew, what was my question? Oh yeah. How would you describe the Lowdown? Yeah. And was your approach like, were you hammering it? Were you there to low down and just chill out and enjoy the ride?
I would say like an in between. I definitely like to get the ride part done, but I'm listening like for me riding the Lowdown, I'm definitely focused on, you can't just zone out and like you were talking about like managing your body and paying attention. Like I still do all those things, even if I'm not racing, just because of when you're riding on gravel, like you have to pay attention, you have to focus. Some of the roads out there's like patches of sand, so you have to like kind of be prepared for that.
Yep.
And also like nutrition is important even when doing the lowdown. I remember the first year I was about 5 miles from that first campground, and I was like starting to get hungry. I was like, man, it's only 5 miles. Like, I'll just keep riding. And then like probably like less than a mile, like I had to stop and eat because like, like I underestimated or how long it would take me to do 5 miles on, rolling hills of gravel. It's just, I would describe the area as beautiful, like the rolling gravel roads, even the paved roads, like it's not like nice pavement. It still feels kind of like gravel too. You had mentioned earlier, like seeing the cows and stuff like that. There's definitely a lot of cattle guards that we crossed through. It was actually, I remember one of my favorite parts of the route is on day 2 of the lowdown. You kind of start out, there's like a mix of pavement and gravel, but more so pavement. And then you get to Cherry Springs, and then you get on like some highway road, and then you take a left to start to head towards Mason. On that left is like starts like a gravel section before Dos Rios, and that's like one of my favorite parts of the lowdown route. But I'd mentioned that I think to you, and you're like, that was like the worst part, because it was like you had mentioned how when you got there it was like dark, and there was like you're afraid of like deer running out in front of you. But like for me, that's one of my favorite parts of the route. I also see some of the racers that day, and like I saw Annabelle last year, and like she also was like not feeling the washboard gravel like with her saddles. Or it's pretty rough if you've been on your bike for
That's
hours.
the first thing she told me when she finished. She was like, those fucking washboards.
So I think like when you're doing like the lowdown, like it still sucks, but you're like usually not as exhausted, so you can like just have a little bit more fun.
It's not as brutal.
You're just like, man, this sucks, but it's fine. Like I'll be camping and relaxing in a little bit.
Yeah, you brought up something that I think is interesting about the lowdown, and I wanted to get your perspective or insights on that. Is that so? That road that you described is where the lowdown route re-intersects with the slowdown and the showdown route, and typically what's happening is like when the lowdowners are riding, they're getting passed by the showdown and slowdowners that have been going all night or whatever. And I always think that's cool to like be doing your non-competitive version of the bike pack of the showdown series and getting to commingle and just see what those people that have been like sleep deprived and they're foaming at the mouth or whatever or they're complaining about their saddle sores or whatever it is.
I think it's awesome like seeing the racers. I also like cheering them on, like because I know it's mentally tough what they're doing. Like they're challenging themselves. Like you never know, like if they're going to be in a good mood or maybe they're in a dark place. But I feel like the lowdowners can like offer like a chance to cheer them on, like boost them up a little bit. Like, we can't like let them draft us or help them, but we can give them like some moral support and like a little energy boost along the way. And just like, it's cool to just see them like competing and having.
Is that kind of the vibe? Because like, I designed the race. I'm not out there when that's happening, but I'm picturing. That's what I always picture is that the lowdowners, maybe not all of them, but in general, they're like, yeah, you got this, go get it.
Yeah, like definitely I was like being a woman and then seeing Annabelle. I don't know how many women did that distance.
I'm trying to remember if she was the only one. So she finished, I believe, 3rd overall and first place women on the showdown.
Yeah.
Like she absolutely.
And she may have been the only woman
I think
doing
she was the
that.
only.
So that was like also really like empowering.
I'm pretty sure she was
like,
the only. I super apologize if I'm forgetting somebody, but I'm pretty sure that she's the only one. So Javian, for you, what was it like, getting to like catch up and ride alongside and maybe pass a couple of lowdowners along the way?
So I didn't see anyone.
You didn't see anyone?
No, I didn't see anyone. Like my entire ride was alone.
Your whole thing?
The whole thing. The only people I remember is Drew passed me somewhere around Leakey.
Okay.
Right on those hills. I remember seeing him. He passed me, and it was just a quick like, "Hey, what's up, dude?" And then he's out.
Yeah.
But that's it. I remember passing a lot of camps Saturday night. There were people just along the river before the river crossings, and could tell people were there. I heard chatter, but I didn't pass anyone on a bike.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was that hard?
No, I kind of like riding solo and kind of doing my own thing. So that worked for me.
I do when I'm doing like I like riding with people, but if I'm like trying to, do an effort, better alone is better for me to just because then you don't get caught up in what other people are doing.
Yeah, same for me.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Let's talk about your bike setups. Let's just talk, like what bike did you ride? What tire, Andrea, did you ride for the Lowdown?
Each year I actually had 2 different bikes. The first year I did it, I have like a Kona steel bike. I try to do like more minimal setups because I don't want to like lug the weight. Basically, like just increases the amount of work you have to do, and plus I don't like to like carry a bunch of extra stuff. So I had a pretty minimal setup. I usually put my tent on my handlebars, and I think I had fork bags, and then like I have a big like trunk style saddle bag that I used. And then this last year not recently now, but at that time had gotten a Otso bike. So that's a carbon bike. So I changed my setup. I had a full frame bag and then did the tent and different smaller bags on the fork and then a smaller saddle bag.
What kind of Otso bike or Otso? I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but anyway.
I'm not sure either, but
one of those is definitely right.
I have the Wahili C.
Oh, that's a nice one.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah. What size tires did you run?
I think I ran probably like 42s. I'm not like a super technical like.
Yeah, me neither.
Like I know our friend Nick is like dials in like everything like perfectly. I'm just like, oh, I have these tires
it's
on.
A
like,
bike.
Yeah, like it'll be fine. Like as long as it's like relatively okay.
Yeah.
I know like we wanted to like I sew frequently, so I sewed like my frame bag. It used to be for my Kona bike, and I like took it all apart and like fit it to the Otso to have a full frame bag on that bike. It just makes more sense. I can't remember what else I sewed for the CTS this past year.
I was going to ask you because I knew I thought that was cool. You're the only one I heard of. I'm sure there's other people that
there's a handful of people that I noticed. Like I can tell when people make their own bags. So I know a woman named Olivia has made some of her bag, and there was like another, I think like from the College Station area. I don't remember his name.
Oh, Brett.
Maybe, yeah.
He's in my cycling club.
Yeah.
He's actually making bags for my tandem bike right now.
Yeah, he makes.
He's got a mustache.
Yeah, I think he has like bread. It's called,
it's bread bike packing bags or something.
Yeah,
like
which is funny because my friend here also has bread bags.
Does he really?
Her, yeah.
Oh, she.
Yeah,
Apologies.
so it's funny. But yeah, like Nick had commissioned like a very specific bike bag to fit like between his water tank and like his other frame bag. So he's like very precise. Like I'm gonna get it to fit right here.
So that's what I was gonna ask you. Do you make bags for other people, or is it just something you do for fun? Like,
it's like a hobby, but I do. If people ask, like I will make stuff for them, but I don't. I used to like kind of like make a batch and then sell it online, but
yeah,
I'm busy with biking and working and sewing other stuff. So I just like if people ask, I do it.
Yeah, no, that's super cool. All right, so from a gear equipment perspective, like how well did your setup work? Is there anything that you would? So you've done it twice now. Anything that you would change?
No, like how I set up the first year, I had like taken pictures and stuff, and I basically packed all the same clothes and like everything and just did the same thing. I try to prioritize like small, like clothes that pack up small, like, and dial in like exactly what I need, like food wise, in meals, and make sure to eat those meals. I've been bike packing since 2018, so it doesn't take, like, I kind of already know what I need, so it's not like a big process for me. But I remember like the first year I did it, like this I forgot his name out of Houston. He was like handing me whole coconut waters. I was like, what do you have? And he's like, I'm suffering. So he like brought all this stuff. I was like, why do you have like a grocery cart of like items on this trip?
He made a trip to HEB.
Yeah. He did.
Oh no. Oh. All right. Pause. I think we're good.
So we're like talking about my setup. I think I like often get asked like advice and things like that. I think sometimes people like either like overpack or don't pay enough attention to like the route. There's been a couple years, or both times I've been, people are like, "Oh, I didn't even look at the route." I was like, there's
Whoa.
like no gas stations or like
Yes.
anything. I know some people stop in Llano to like get stuff. I'm just like, it's important to look at the route no matter what distance you're doing.
Yep.
That's another, I mean, you made a couple great points there. First of all, yes, please look at the route. Like this area of Texas is extremely remote. From cell phone reception is very limited. Water is non-existent. There are not gas stations. And the other point that you brought up is I actually now routed the routes into Llano or Llano or however you want to say it. Everybody has a different pronunciation. I actually asked the locals because it's either Llano, or Llano, depending on how you pronounce it. But that town, like I routed the lowdown and the super lowdown into Llano.
Oh, great.
But it's optional. But there were so many people that were resupplying there. It's very early. It's like 21 miles into the ride, so it's pretty early. But it's kind of critical to take that into consideration from a planning standpoint. But no matter what you're going to do, especially plan for water, I think is the big one.
For sure.
So, following up on that, like how much water did you carry and what, I mean, obviously you can only speak to what works for you, but what have you found to be a good amount of water to carry?
I definitely carry a Camelback, like a water bladder on my back, and then 3 water bottles on my bike for sure.
So how many liters are in your Camel bag?
I think it's like 2.5.
2.5.
Yeah.
So you probably have about 5 liters of water.
Yeah, and I think, I guess day 1, like there's no water.
No,
and then,
unless you go into Llano, there's
no water.
Yeah.
So enough water for day 1, and then day 2 there is like a lot of times like churches and things like that have a spigot outside, so you can get water on day 2. And then day 3 there's no water either. So
yeah. Listen to Andrea, folks. That's a big one.
Be prepared.
Yeah, the water is the one thing people are, I get feedback a lot. They're like, there's no water. I'm like, I know, there's no water. Carry water.
You're like, I told you that before. It's on the route.
And I'm really not kidding.
Yeah.
Like, I want you guys to have fun, be safe, have plenty of water to drink. I know it's heavy. I ride bikes too. It sucks, but.
I think like with the lowdown too, it's, it could be easy to be like, oh, I'm just like casual having fun, but you still have to like take into the consideration like planning your hydration, nutrition, and time of day that you want to ride, because like it can be easy to just be like, I'm just gonna chill in the morning, like hang out, but then it gets really hot. So like, yeah, I know it sucks to be like the first one packing up and like rushing, but it's worth it when you're riding to like get out on the road earlier.
Another great point. Okay, my bad. The SD card filled up, so we're not exactly sure when it cut out, but we don't think very long ago. Javian, we're gonna segue to your gear.
Yeah, let's do it.
Your bike setup and how did you approach it from an equipment gear standpoint?
Yeah, so I'm on a Santa Cruz Stigmata. So just classic gravel bike. For tires, I really like WTB tires and their range. So typically I ride I think it's like the Riddler. It's kind of like their just middle kind of do everything tire. But for this one, because there was going to be more pavement, they have a faster rolling adventure tire called the Venture. And so that did everything that I needed it to. I mean, it gave me the confidence on the road, and then come the washboards and all the dirt, it did what it needed to. Was able to keep 2 wheels down the entire time, despite a lot of the sand patches. I mean, you could be descending, right, going 20, 30 miles an hour, hit a patch of sand, and then you're going 5 miles an hour. So tires did their job. For packs, I have a frame bag where I keep most of my nutrition. I have just a small saddle bag for tools and anything that happens with the bike. I have a top tube bag where I keep all of my easy to access nutrition, like my gels, my food, Rice Krispie treats, all that stuff. And then I also have I guess it's like a handlebar bag, but opens up to the front.
Oh, right. Like, do you hang it from your aero bars? Do you have aero bars?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's more aero, right?
Yeah.
I keep in there like my like electronic equipment, like phone chargers, battery packs, and then a couple of extra layers. And then I also carry a like a Solomon hydration vest, keep more hydration, fuel, and then a 1.5 liter bladder. So that's kind of all of my setup, just kind of all summarized.
And did you say what size tires they were?
40s.
40s. A couple of questions. Let's start with the tires. Actually, let me back up even farther. One thing that I think is really unique and interesting about the showdown route in particular for Central Texas is that it is, I think now it's 74% paved, 26% unpaved. In ultra cycling events, especially, in this genre of like ultra cycling, dirt is preferred.
Yeah.
We alluded to it earlier, but there isn't dirt in this part of Texas. Like the way I describe it is like picture gravel dirt roads, and in Central Texas, they just paved over all of them.
That's
right?
right.
Like you're riding paved roads that you're like, who the hell paid money to pave this dinky little farm road that 3 people a year ride or like drive on, right? Like that's, so I think, you hear pavement and I think people get like put off by it or like unsure about it. I guess as a starting point, like what is your, like, how did you think about that much pavement prior to riding it? And then like, how was that experience to have so much pavement with like a little bit of gravel to spice it up?
Yeah, it didn't bother me any. A mile's a mile, you know, whether it's on dirt or on pavement. If anything, it kind of makes the route a little bit easier. Riding up a steep hill on pavement is going to be a little bit easier because you're able to get that traction versus trying to climb a gravel steep hill, you know? So, yeah, didn't really bother me at all. I think the big thing is, although it's paved, there's not a lot of cars. So I think just the remoteness of the route, whether it's gravel or pavement, really doesn't matter just because of how remote it is.
Yeah, I mean, I agree personally, and I know I'm a little bit biased, but yeah, if you can give me a paved road that's fast and flowy, that's low traffic in a beautiful area, it's like, yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, I'm with it.
But then it has just enough gravel, I think, to make it interesting. You can't just pick a 28C tire and do the route. You're going to be like real happy for 75% of the time and really miserable for the other part. So my question about that from a strategy standpoint, you said you went with 40 mil tires, pretty fast rolling.
Yep.
One, how well did that tire work for you? And also like what PSI, were you pumping up the pressure for paved section and lowering it for gravel, or like how were you approaching it from a tire standpoint?
Tire was great. I usually blow up my tires to about 35 PSI. That sounds right. And yeah, I mean, I didn't have to go inflate or deflate at any point in the ride. It was kind of like that sweet spot for me. And yeah, I think I could have probably gone a little bit smaller, right, to maybe like a 35. The reason I went with the 40s is like with sealant and the way that, if punctures happen, I'd like more internal volume to be able to like, I guess, have more sealant, have more room for, air to fall out and still be okay. So that's why I kind of went with the 40. I think 45s were going to be a little bit too slow for that much pavement. So 40 just seemed like the sweet spot.
And how was it because I guess the other thing worth mentioning is, most of the gravel is on the north portion of the route. In the southern section, they're just by the hill country natural area. There's that gravel section there. But other than that, it's pretty much all up north. How was it when you got back up north, transitioning from the pavement into the gravel?
It sucked, man. It sucked. I mean, I don't know if you got like permission from like a ranch to go through like someone's private property where they just have cattle. But I mean, I felt like I was running over more cow patties than gravel and rocks, you know? I mean, it was like just, for hours, like it was pretty much that entire second night. So yeah, I mean, it was a lot of sand in that section too, more than gravel, because prior to that northwest section, I mean, it was really fast gravel. I mean, I remember hitting that late at night and like just hauling ass, So that was really cool, fast gravel. But again, when we get to that dirt up north, that's where you kind of had to slow down, and it was a lot of sand and a lot of power, not a lot of speed. So yeah, other than that northwest section, and then obviously the what are they called? The washboards coming back in to town were tough. That was when I didn't pretty much have any light other than like a small headlamp because my lights had died, and so just that, with the washboard was pretty tough.
I mean, while we're talking about equipment, what did you use for lighting? And was that just a, poor management? You were tired, you didn't manage it very well, or was it a product issue? Like what?
No,
what
it was a product issue. So what my strategy was, I had a battery pack. I had 2 of I forget how many lumens, right? But it was like the highest end Bontrager light that you can get. So I had 2 of them. My strategy was to basically keep the light on the mid volume that would last about 5 hours, right? Somewhere around there, 5 or 6 hours. When one would start blinking, like, hey, you're going to die, swap it with the other one, plug in the dead one with my battery charger, and basically just wash, rinse, and repeat that cycle.
Yeah.
There was a certain point, probably around mile 400 on the second night, where went to swap out the light. This one's dying, and the internal charging, like where you plug it in, it had fallen into the device.
Oh no!
And so I didn't, I only had one light. This one was dead. This one was dying. So I basically rode as much as I could till my light died. And at that point, I was at some type of creek crossing, dry creek crossing, and I just found a flat place to lay down on the side of the road and took an hour-long nap, wait for my light to charge, and that got me back into to Castle. So it was just a product failure that if that light would have been able to charge, I could have kept on going. And
what light was it?
Bontrager.
Oh, the Bontrager.
I mean, I forget which one it's called, but solid light when it works, right? But that wasn't the case.
Okay. Anything you would do differently when you do it again? I'm not going to say if you do it again.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm going to invest in some like badass lighting. There's like a brand called Outbound Lighting, and they make some pretty crazy stuff. I mean, like a car headlight, in front of your bike.
Some of my friends have that light, and just like the beam it casts is like awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm going to get 2 of those, and I shouldn't have any issues after that.
I invested in Phoenix lights. The big one, I don't know the model, but the big one that goes on your handlebars. I have the small one that goes on your helmet. And both of them have failed within the last several months, like independently of each other. And I've really enjoyed them, but they both failed. I'm like,
that's the light I've had for years.
They're very popular.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I just got twice unlucky because I've been like talking to other people. Like, have you had any issues with yours?
No, I've had mine for years, and then I lost it. I was like, dang it. And then I just bought a new one and no problems. My boyfriend did. He emailed them and got a new one.
Okay. I need to email them. Yeah. I'm sure they'll take care of it. I don't want to talk crap, but I mean, I'm not trying to talk crap. I think we can share our experiences with products. We can do honest evaluations
of our experiences.
No one's paying me money to run those lights. I'm just trying to figure out what works. But it was Outbound or Outback? What'd you say?
Outbound Lighting, I think is the brand.
Okay.
And they're targeting the hell out of me on Instagram. I feel like every couple scrolls I'm seeing them, but they I guess they know what, they know
my
their
Instagram's
audience.
going to be showing it to me just because we're talking about it after this.
Yep.
All right, Andrea, we were talking about nutrition prior, and we might have got all of it. We might have missed some of it, but I do want to talk about nutrition, and both routes require different nutrition strategies and allow for different nutrition strategies. So how did you approach it from a nutrition standpoint or a resupply, or however you want to phrase it?
Well, there's no resupplies on the route, so I just make sure, like, planning out my meals and definitely snacks and hydration as well. Like with the heat, I'll make sure I have some sort of electrolyte source as well. With the lowdown route, I outline like kind of like my meal plan. Basically, I make a meal plan and like pack that because in prior years I did not stop in Llano. I just went straight to camp. The second night at Dos Rios, there is a restaurant, like the James River Ice House.
Yep.
So that's part of my plan. Like, I'm going to get a burger from James River Ice House. So, I account for all those things and make sure that one thing that I've definitely made mistakes before of not eating frequently enough, even when you're more casually riding. So I make sure to pay attention to like how the distance, the time between like snacks, to make sure I'm like consuming carbs like every hour because I mean, you are with the lowdown, you're carrying like 20, 30 extra pounds on your bike. So that's pretty demanding on your body, and you need a fuel for the demand that you're asking.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought up James River Ice House. So for people listening, the Lowdown has 2 group camps that are provided as part of your registration. We have one at Oxford Campground on night 1, which is around mile 55. And then the second group camp is at Dos Rios, which is right on the Llano River. And directly across the street is the James River Ice House that they just started serving food like a week before last year's Central Texas Showdown. So it was very new. I was in constant communication with them. I was like, are you for sure going to have food? Because we got all these people coming. But they've been great. I've personally ridden out there and, camped and like ate out there, and they're great and it's beautiful. And so that is one of the rare and few resources that you can like count on, and you should take it into consideration when you're doing your planning.
Yeah, and like when you are planning, they're not open all day with food. You know, it's only like during a certain time period, because I know all the routes go past the James River Ice House, so it's not like if you get there at noon, you can get a burger. Like it's only at night, I think that so it's like even like when you're planning, you have to pay attention when these places are open, because they're not open 24 hours.
Yeah, so I try to put, for all the POIs that I put on the Ride with GPS file, I'll put the hours that they're open. And then I also recommend that people call ahead and verify, because I try to call and verify, but I mean, I don't know where you're planning on stopping. And so it is, it's solo self-supported. So I try to, give you guys some good information, some areas to look at, but you gotta do your own planning.
I just like randomly thought of one of my favorite parts of Central Texas was the first year I did it was during the eclipse.
Oh yeah.
And that was awesome.
That was awesome.
I forgot about that.
Totally unplanned, by the way. But we just happened to have an eclipse happening. There was like a big deal. I mean, the state of Texas was like popping off. People were coming from all over the world and country to this part of Texas, and we just happened to be having a bike race. And
that was
we
awesome.
handed out the glasses at registration, everybody, so everybody could like stop and look up. If they wanted
we
to.
were riding like day 2, and like we had stopped periodically to like put on our glasses and see like the progression of the eclipse, and then we stopped at this church in Cherry Springs like to watch the full thing. So.
Yeah. That's super cool. I'm glad you brought that up. That was, a celestial event. Nutrition. Yeah. So how did you do it? What was your strategy to approach the showdown from a nutrition standpoint?
So I'm
and also while we're talking about it, because we didn't talk about how much water. Oh no, we did. You said you had the Camelback.
Yeah.
Like how many liters were you actually carrying too?
It was a 1.5 liter bladder in my hydration pack. 3 bottles. I don't know how many liters that is. Probably around 2.5, something like that. And then for the distances where, like, let's say, like there's like 60 or 70 miles between resupply, I also had a 2 liter like flask reservoir just to have just in case. So I was never thirsty or hungry. I don't know if you remember this. It was super, like you cracked a joke because I think you were doing your ride debrief, and I was like taking notes, and you're like, what's the notebook for? Like, like why are you doing that? But pro tip, I don't know if it's a pro tip, amateur tip, right? But I carry this little, basically just mile marker with the different towns and just a little note that says, hey, in Lukenbach, there's burgers available. Stop in Comfort to stop at Lowe's, eat in Bandera, drink in Doss, So this is in my, and excuse my handwriting, but I keep that in my...
With a Pokemon card?
No, so that's a Yu-Gi-Oh card. Some background behind that, I collect like trading cards, or at least these types of cards. That card is called Monster Reborn. And so what that card does is it brings a monster back from the graveyard. And so kind of in this scenario, right? Like if I'm ever in that hole or like out of it, Monster Reborn, baby, bring me back to life.
That's awesome.
I love that.
So that's just a little personal touch I keep in my, as a reminder.
Konami?
Konami. Yeah,
Konami.
just a Japanese card brand.
Yeah, I think these are great. I do that exact same thing. And you can tape it to your top tube or whatever, or something simple. But we were talking earlier about bike packing math, essentially all the things that you're factoring. But to speak to a plan, how knowing. And like having a general plan, but also knowing what your backups are, right? Because plan goes wrong, and so like put some key markers of things that you could be on the lookout for. And so like if you're coming up to a POI and you're like, I'm actually feeling good, nutrition's good, water's good, let's push another 30 miles to the next one, whatever it is. But you can do that quick time calculation.
Absolutely. Yeah. So even prior to the route, right, like I went on Google Maps and basically went through each of the towns and like did like a virtual tour using Street View just to kind of look around and like, hey, like what's here?
Yeah.
And that helped out a lot. Like there was a spot where I was trying to get to Los Maples, and I had been to the Los Maples Park before, and I didn't know that they have like a water bottle thing, right? Where I was going to sneak into the state park and grab some water and then get back on the road to Kerrville.
Your taxes paid for that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And I had my Texas State Park pass too, so I was going to be in the green, but there's a general store, like a restaurant / gas station, like 3 or 4 miles before you get there. And they had a water hose behind the building. So I was able to, basically fuel up there, go past Los Maples into Kerrville. But yeah, I mean, everything was on here. I had a plan on where I was going to eat. I can tell you probably the biggest letdown of the ride is I was dreaming of a Whataburger breakfast on a bun. Pretty much the entire way into Kerrville.
Yeah.
I got into the restaurant at 10:03. They stopped serving breakfast at 10.
No.
So, hey, can I get this? Oh, sorry, we've stopped selling breakfast.
You should have started crying.
Yeah, my heart broke, and I was like, you know what? Well, just give me the sweet and spicy bacon burger with everything on it, and like, let me just, sulk. So
anyone who's ever done anything like this will feel for you deep in their soul.
Yes.
We know how demoralizing that is. Like when you have something that like the thing that's like, I am riding hard to get there so I can have that one thing, and then you can't get it. Yeah.
It's heartbreaking.
And we need to wear shirts or have like little cards you can pass. Like, I just rode 400 miles. I haven't slept. I'm tired, dirty, and hungry. Please help.
I'm not okay right
something
now.
like that.
And the sad part is they're probably throwing away all like the stuff to make the breakfast on a bun.
Yeah, you're like, I know you still have it.
Like, I will eat that.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
I will eat trash right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You mentioned Lowe's. I thought that was an interesting POI. Why is Lowe's on your? Were you expecting a mechanical? Did you build a house, a dog house on the way?
No. Lowe's grocery store.
Grocery store.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a question for you. You might know this since you're in the HEB business. Is Lowe's the home improvement store owned by the same people that own Lowe's, the grocery store? I've heard that it is, but I don't.
I have no clue. Yeah, wrong person. But I mean, I'd like to think so. I mean, why not?
I guess it doesn't matter. But I've just been curious. Yeah, Lowe's, the grocery store. Yeah.
So that was probably like my lowest part of the ride too. I got to Lowe's at 5 o'clock on Friday, like peak heat. My wife works in Bernie, and she was going to be there, like, go. And I was, that was like the point where like, man, I don't know if I can go another, 400 miles, but especially with her in the car and the AC right there. So that was a hard point, but got back on the road.
Yeah. So right on. Let's talk about the weather. So it's hot in Texas. We all know it's hot. And I put Central Texas as late in the calendar year as possible to hope for a cold snap. It's the weekend right before Halloween. And the first 2 years in the 90s, right? At the peak heat of the day, maybe, what do they call that? Heat index of in the hundreds, maybe. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah, sounds right.
Something like that. I'm actually watching the weather while y'all are out riding. Y'all are just like, it's fucking hot out here.
I think that's like a benefit when, we ride in San Antonio. It's like just as hot and just as sunny here. So I think we're used to being like in full sun, like no trees to protect us. So I think that's definitely a barrier if people are coming from a different area. Like that's a shock for sure.
Yeah, we do get people from all over the United States and even out of the country. But, most of the people come from Texas. And I think one of the one of the challenging things for us in Texas to prepare for Central Texas Showdown is training, because to prepare for October, you got to train in June, July, August, September leading up, which are the hottest months of the year. Any strategies or tips or strategies that y'all use to ride during the hottest part of the year to train for Central Texas, or you just suck it up? Like, what are y'all's strategies?
I try to intentionally train like in the hottest part of the day, as crazy as that sounds, but I just love peak heat training. I think, I don't know the science behind it, but I feel like training in like tougher conditions just makes it that much easier when the conditions aren't as hard.
Yeah.
And so like my strategy was just find the craziest hills like in my neighborhood or like in the hill country and just spam them like pretty much all year leading up to Central Texas. That way, like let's say a hill on the route, it's not like a brand new hill that I've never seen before. Like, oh, this is like La Sierra. I've done this 200 times. And so it really helps like shift your mind to like, oh, this isn't like this new scary thing. This is something that you do every single day. So I think the heat training helps, but coming from out of state for this type of race, maybe higher intensity, or like there's some science behind like doing like indoor cycling and then like hopping in a sauna to get that same effect.
Right.
So whatever you can do to just make it hard on yourself before you get out here will help.
Yeah. So essentially expose yourself to the heat as much as possible.
That's right.
And then, when it's only 95 instead of 105, it's like, oh, this actually isn't too bad.
This is pleasant. Yeah.
So condition yourself. What about you, Andrea?
For the lowdown, I don't do like targeted training. I just make sure I'm riding consistently to prepare for that. And when I ride, usually after work, it's hot anyways. I think with the lowdown, one thing that's different is like you do not have to ride all day. So you can time. I try to leave earlier in the morning from the camps just to like beat the worst of the heat, because the dehydrating effect, can like not feel very good the next day if you don't drink enough, especially because you're doing like 3 days in a row. Like you need to be like on top of your hydration like every day of the event to finish it out.
Yeah.
I remember seeing you at the beginning of the ride, like you had like a whole gallon of water, like chugging it right before you got on your bike and stuff.
Oh, that's smart. So you chugged a bunch of water leading up to it.
Yeah. So we have a partnership with Liquivita here in town, and it's basically like a drip IV location. We have a partnership with Goodspeed. And so, you go get a drip before it just to get that like super hydration, make sure you're all, topped off. And then, it's just about consuming as much water as possible.
So water and carbs.
And then I'm a big fan of Element, right? Like the drink LMNT. Yeah. It's like 1,000 milligrams of sodium, some potassium. Take one of those every like 2 or 3 hours.
You just get those at gas stations?
No, you have to bring them from home or wherever you
It's like a little pack that
That's
you
right.
just mix into your water.
Yeah, and I use like salt sticks this past time, and those are like little tablets. Help a lot.
You have to replace the sodium, people.
You have to.
For anyone who doesn't know that.
Yeah.
It's super important. There's a guy, I mean, it's been many years ago now, but he died on the Texas Safari 100. The canoe race. What do they call that? Anyway, but essentially you're not replacing the sodium that your body's losing. And if you're just drinking water alone, it's not going to do the job. So you have to be getting your sodium in as well.
And I think your team has a partnership with Bob's Pickle Pops.
Yes, we do have a partnership with Bob's Pickle Pops. They're like pickle juice. That helps a lot too.
Yeah, Jessica Alexander, shout out. She usually brings some Bob's Pickle Pops to the events. And
thanks, Bob's, for your sponsorship.
Thanks, Bob's. And LMNT.
No partnership there, but maybe.
Yeah.
You had mentioned the weather and the heat, but one thing about this time of year is it actually can get pretty chilly at night. Like, so I know, like for camping, I mean, like I have to bring a blanket and stuff like that. This last year, we actually, like, me and my friend, we rented one of the canvas tents at Dos Rios. Like, her sleeping pad had a hole in it. So, like, the second night, we, like, had a bed. It was very nice. But I know the first year, some of your teammates had done it and had mentioned getting cold overnight when they were riding. So it's, like, kind of both.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it cold this last time when you did it?
I was... I'd better equipped. I had layers and like a vest and a base layer, and I just had more gear, so I wasn't as cold.
Yeah, again, worth mentioning. People, we always talk about the heat, which is the easy thing to talk about, but I think we oftentimes overlook the nighttime, and it can get cold, especially if you're putting effort, you're sweating, and a lot of people will just be shivering at night. So good to have some layers. That's the guide to weather, right? Is layers, being able to take on and take off. Yeah. So weather. Oh, let's talk about camping and sleep strategy. I think that's a good one. So obviously much different between Showdown and Slowdown. Showdown and Lowdown. Lowdown, we have the 2 group camps, like I mentioned. So it's about, you're not going to ride more than like 50 or 60 mile. It's about 60 to 65 miles per day. I think the first day is 55, and then it's like the next 2 days.
I think the second day is like the
65,
longest.
70,
I think the second day is like 80 or something. I don't know. Yeah.
I should have notes, but anyway, it's on the internet, people.
Yeah, look it up. Do your research.
Do your research. We're just tickling things here. You got to dig in yourself.
Yeah.
But what did you think about the campsites? Any thoughts on the campsites? Did you have a favorite?
I think like both campsites are like the placement on the route is ideal. The mileage between, I think, is a good balance. Makes for challenging days, but not impossible days for even like people more newer to bike packing. Like somebody up to challenging themselves definitely can do it. They're interesting campgrounds, I would say. Like, I don't want to speak poorly on them, but like Oxford has like an interesting shower situation.
Oh no, let's talk about it.
Okay, like
I hope they get it fixed before this next year. But
I heard the men were complaining about like some electricity shocks while they were taking.
Wow.
Yeah, for real. Like apparently there was a live wire and people were getting shocked when they were taking showers.
Yes.
That wasn't the case.
Yeah.
I've been out there so many times. It sounds like you've been going out there. I've never seen that, but apparently this last year there was a very
there was like some concerning electrical setup and the women's and men's side is like just a sheet metal between, so you can hear them all being like like while they're showering.
Yeah, there's not much privacy. There's visual privacy, but not auditory privacy.
Yeah, I would say I have been to like several state parks. Like they're not the same as the state parks, but it's a place to sleep. There's water, there's a shower, bathroom. What more do you need? I guess.
Yeah, Oxford is literally a guy that owns a house with a bunch of acreage, and he's just like, I have like 260 acres. You can just go put a tent wherever, and you can't reserve anything. Every year we have to go, and like the morning of, I send a person over there to like pay for however many people, but it has so much room. There's always going to be space, but yeah.
And then like Dos Rios, is like a little bit more developed. They actually have like rentals, whether like I had stayed in a canvas tent this last year with a bed in it, and it had a heater and everything too, which was nice. And then they have also have showers and bathrooms as well. It's not like the fanciest campground, but it is nice. And I feel like I didn't fully explore the campground when I did the route, but since then I've been back. And there's actually really great swimming at Dos Rios that I did not take advantage of and should have.
Right on the banks of the Llano, and great swimming there if you're keen on it. I think your strategy, it's worth reiterating. If you're doing the lowdown or the super lowdown, it makes sense to wake up early. You're going to be riding, between 5 to 7 hours a day for most people. So if you can, get on your bike by 8, you're done by 1 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, whenever you're really starting to heat up, and find a tree to hang out under, or go, take a dip in the Llano, or go over to James River Ice House and get a burger and a beer or whatever.
Yeah, one of the river crossings, I just laid back and put my head underwater. It was really nice while I was riding. It was a nice cool down.
Yeah.
During the ride.
Yeah. Dos Rios is the better campground. I'll say it. You don't have to. We love you, Oxford.
Yes. I appreciate both campgrounds.
I'm glad they're there.
Yeah.
But you appreciate Dos Rios more when you get there, after, it builds on itself.
It does. It's like a build up the ride. You're like, start out one night, first night, a little rough, and then second night's better. It's One thing I forgot to mention that's interesting on the lowdown is on that second day when you intersect where the slowdown and showdown are riding, it looks like drunk people are riding on the sand. Cause it's really swervy. You're like, man, or even if it's not this sand, you're like, oh my gosh, I gotta watch out. The bike line's all over the road, but I think it's just the sleep deprived riders making some weird paths.
Just trying to stay on.
Yeah, just trying to stay clipped in. Yeah.
Whenever their peripheral starts to see grass, they'll wind over the other side, and they see grass and wind back over. All right, Javian. So I watched, I redid the Follow My Challenge, I replayed it, and it looks like you might have slept in Kerrville, and that might have been the only time you slept, but I honestly couldn't tell. It didn't look like you stopped very long. What was your strategy and what actually happened?
So I had a plan A. I had never ridden this far, so a just in case was there's a campsite called Zubers right across from Garner. I stay there throughout the year just camping. And so I called up there and I had booked a screen shelter to sleep in. And that's at mile 210.
Yeah.
And so that was just a just in case, hey, if I get here and I really need to sleep, I have a place. I got to a intersection and it was go forward to a gas station, refuel, go left to Zubers or turn right and continue on the route. Right. Two people, I think it was Drew and then somebody else actually went straight to the gas station. So kind of in my head, I was like, well, I still feel good. I'm not going to sleep. I'm not going to the gas station because I want to make up some time on these guys. And so I took a right and headed towards Kerrville.
Yeah.
I knew I was going to refuel at Los Maples, at least water, and I was good on food. So before then, that's that place I talked about, the gas station with the water hose in the back. I took advantage of a wooden bench on their front patio, and I slept there for about 15 minutes.
Okay.
I really couldn't get much good sleep just because there were so many cars coming in and out, and I was just okay, I couldn't fall asleep. Another pro tip that I learned actually through ETS was sleep mask.
Oh,
right?
yeah,
So,
huge.
Pro trip.
So bring a sleep mask. Trying to sleep in that post office the first year,
Yes.
with those bright lights, you just can't get any restful sleep. So the sleep mask is 100% a pro tip.
Yeah.
But after that, I rode pretty much the entire way until mile 400 when my lights died. I, again, could have still kept on riding, but I couldn't do anything. So I took a nap while I let my light charge. And then I got back to my truck and I slept about 3 hours until daylight came up, and then I started my death loop. So really try to sleep as little as possible till I absolutely had to. And then I take their BPN Go Gels. It's just 75 milligrams of caffeine in a gel. And so anytime I would try to get a little bit tired, just pop one of those and then just lock in. So, yep.
How are you feeling when you finish? So that, if my math is right, about 4 hours, maybe 4 hours and 15 minutes of quote unquote sleep time.
Yeah, it was around 5. Yep.
5 hours.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. How are you feeling at the end? Your longest event ever, at least at that point. How wrecked were you? How were you feeling?
It was a mix of emotions, right? It was I let out a good little cry a mile before the finish line because it took a lot to get there.
Yeah.
So it was pretty emotional. But it was great seeing you. My wife surprised me. She was there, so it was incredible. So yeah, it was a great feeling.
Feel like you could have kept going, or were you done?
Nah, my knee my knee was really giving me some trouble. Fast forward, I had knee surgery 4 months ago, and so I think some of that just constant, 48 hours of just straight God. Something had to do something with that. But
did I break your knee?
No, you didn't. No, it's all my own decisions. But it was good to finish.
Do you know what? Why did you have to get your knee? You're not. How old are you? You're not.
I'm 31.
31. Yeah, you're a young guy.
31, but 3 knee surgeries on the same knee.
What happened?
I think a lot of bad luck and overuse. I have something called plica syndrome, where it's basically I have these thick band of tissues in my knee. Some people have them, some people don't. And what that plica does is it basically rubs against the synovial membrane. The synovial membrane is the tissue that creates joint fluid. And so whenever there's irritation to the synovial membrane, it creates fluid and it basically just makes my knee puff up. So that's what the previous 2 surgeries were for. But this last one, they actually found a small tear in my meniscus that they had to put some sutures in and sew together. So,
all right. I mean, this might help someone out there. Hopefully I won't need this information personally, but what is knee surgery like these days? What is the recovery process like? Yeah. So you're 4 months ago, you said?
4 months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not as scary as it sounds. Obviously you try to avoid it as much as you can, but it's a outpatient procedure. You're in and out within I think the procedure itself takes about 30 minutes. And then the big thing is, and what I tell people is just take your PT serious. Do your homework. You have the answers to the test on what you need to do to get better and get back to sport. So yeah, just take your PT serious and follow doctor's orders. That's pretty much it.
I think that's the hardest thing for me to do, and maybe for other people is, especially now that I'm 45, is listen to my body is all it really is. It's just listening to your body and starting slow and building up gradually, and not cause more damage while you're recovering, and that's hard to do. I think for people who are athletic that want to be using their bodies, I think one of the most challenging things for me personally is when my body isn't doing what I want it to do, or I'm sick or anything like that. I'm like, this doesn't feel okay.
Yeah, you do lose your mind for a little bit, but you can always, jump out of it. After CTS, I think like 10 weeks after, I ran a Big Bend Ultra, so 50 miles in the desert. So I think those 2 kind of combined kind of led to what happened.
Yeah.
It was the running, not the biking.
Yeah.
Honestly, it probably really was.
Mostly the running. Yeah. It is harder on your body. I mean, even a doctor would say that. I'm no doctor. Where else? So it's the hill country. How hard is the climbing? Let's start with the lowdown.
I feel like in retrospect, it's like always not that bad.
Right.
I like really don't like climbing, but it's really not that bad. There's some I think the toughest hills are on pavement, and like Javian was saying earlier, Javian.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Yep.
Was saying earlier is, rather be climbing a paved hill just because you get the traction and everything on your tires rather than like a steep gravel hill. And I don't think it's that bad.
Yeah. I don't think it's that bad on lowdown. It is Texas, and Texas is kind of flat. And so,
I think one thing that can intimidate people that are more likely to do the lowdown is some of the faster descents on the gravel, because there's like washboard and like sand and like turns, but like, just send it, you got this. So we're fine.
Yeah. I think most of the climbing is on the showdown route, especially on the southern portion. That's when you really get into some gnarly climbing. So you talked about it a little bit earlier, but yeah, describe, how challenging the climbs are and how fun the descents are too.
Yeah, I mean,
true.
for anyone listening, I mean, it's hard, right? I think that's what makes the event so fun, because it is a challenge. But yeah, I mean, again, going back to, as long as you do your homework and train for hills and elevation, it's doable. And you're not, going zone 5, max heart rate, smashing up these hills, right? You're saving yourself for the entire route. So just practice your hills and you'll be okay.
Yeah. I like your strategy. I do the same thing. I just try to find the hilliest section I can and rinse and repeat. You know, I mean, in Texas, we have limited opportunities to find like good hills. And so find some steep hills and rinse and repeat as much as you can, put yourself in the pain cave, like on every level, whether it's like, I'll even ride with my bike whenever it's not performing well. Because like you might be 400 miles in an event and your bike might not be running good. Like anything, like ride in bad weather, ride in hot weather, ride at night, ride up hills. Like
intentionally being like the worst gear possible for this hill and figure out a way to get up there. Like whatever you can do to get yourself ready. Right.
That's a good, I like to train on my single speed. And so there is no option to shift. It's just like you're either getting up or walking. And
that's right.
Nobody likes to walk their bike.
I think like one thing that's fun about like the event, no matter what you're doing, is like, you're doing all this work beforehand to prepare, whether it's like the planning you're doing. And then when you show up, it's like the like you get to put it all together, and it's like you get to enjoy like all the planning I mean, it may not be enjoyable the whole time, but like all that hard work you did is coming together for that event that you've been planning and training for and anticipating, no matter what level you're doing at.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're all pushing ourselves. You know, none of this stuff is easy. It doesn't matter what level you're at. It doesn't matter if you're trying hard down the 80 mile or the 500 mile. Everybody's probably putting in an equal amount of like mental and physical effort.
Yeah, like we all worked hard to get to that point.
Yeah. And that's why I like, you know, that's why I have different routes. Like, you know, I want to create like opportunities for people to start and then go here and then here and then here and then go ride the Tour Divide or Silk Road or, you know, something like that. All right, let's start wrapping this fun conversation up. So y'all can go enjoy your weekend and hopefully go ride your damn bike somewhere. Let's talk about highs and lows real quick, either personal or your favorite or least favorite parts of the either event or the route or just any personal highlights or lowlights.
I think for me, the high, and I don't remember what mile it was. It could have happened on any of the nights, but just the remoteness of it and just looking up, right, and just seeing all the stars and just being able to take in the experience. That was probably the coolest part. You know, I remember singing, like, as corny as it sounds, I was singing like the Texas, like the stars at night
are big and bright, deep in the heart of Texas.
Yeah. So that was super cool. I even got a tattoo to kind of, it just says "deep in the heart" right here.
Oh,
just to kind of commemorate the ride. But
by the way, we really need a tattoo artist at all the Showdown events. That's like high on my list. Is some finisher tattoos,
almost like an Iron Man type of thing.
I think if we had like some flashes, you know, it's actually why I changed the logo because my criteria for a good logo is would it be good as a tattoo? And my first logo is fine. Actually, I'm wearing it right now on the shirt. It's fine. It's a fine logo. But I was like, for years, I've been like waiting. I've been like, and then I saw the skull cowboy tattoo on somebody, like they had it tattooed. Very cool. I was like, that is a fucking cool tattoo. So
I feel like everyone would be in the right mindset to get a tattoo. They're like, just give me a tattoo.
Yes, exactly.
15% brain capacity. Just
what did I do this weekend? Oh yeah. There's a reminder on your left butt cheek for the rest of your life.
Perfect.
Any low moments? I mean, I agree, man. I love riding through the night. It's one of my personal strengths because I don't get tired. Like, but I love riding at night. I love it all. I love the transition from day into night and from night into morning. But at night, just especially in the hill country, all the stars, it's just so beautiful at night. It's really lovely to ride through, and it cools down, which is, you know, a nice reprieve. But yeah, any low moments other than your headlight and your knee? Like any low moments on the route?
You know, I can't really think of any low moments. I mean, it was, you know, obviously in like an event that long, you do go through your new highs and your new lows. But
maybe within like 1 minute, you're having all the human experiences.
If anything, I can remember, like I was so upset on the washboards going into Castle. Like I was like just yelling like just F and like just like I was just pissed off because one, I had to stop and I didn't want to, and then. I was having a hard time with my hands too, with all the washboards, and it was just constant. So I got really pissed off at the washboards.
Let's make a note on the roads. It's worth mentioning road conditions change every single year. Whenever, like, I think the first year the washboards were not that bad. The second year they were horrible. Whenever the county comes out and grades the roads, and was it really windy? Did it rain a lot? And so the road conditions are always going to change and be a little bit different every year. It might be sandy one year, and maybe the next year it'll be like more hard packed, and you just never know what you're going to get. But the washboards, I know this last year were pretty rough.
And you know, probably what more than the washboards themselves, the way I have my aero bars, I forget what it is. It's like the Pro Designs, and the arm pads, they fold up whenever you're not in them.
Right.
And so they're constantly always just flopping around. The washboards were making them like clank. And so like it was just clanking and it was loud. So it was more of my like just upset that they were making noise than like the washboards themselves. Because I can ride washboards, but the noise and just the frustration behind it was that.
I'm glad you brought up aero bars because I meant to ask you earlier when we were talking about gear. Aero bar or no aero bar for the Showdown route?
100% aero bar.
100%. I agree.
Yeah, the more hand positions, the better. I mean,
it is such an aero bar route.
Yeah, absolutely. Because there's so many straights where you can just sit in and put power down.
Yeah.
I can't imagine doing it without aero bars. It would have been pretty tough.
Yeah, people like to make it hard on themselves if they want to, but I'm with you. I think aero bar, like that course in particular, makes all the sense in the world for aero bars. I think it's going to pay dividends for the extra weight gain by a long shot.
Easy. I wouldn't think of doing the route without them.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I agree. All right, highs and lows, Andrea.
Like you, I wouldn't say I had like any particularly like mental dark places that I went to. I do remember the washboards coming into Castell on the last day. Like I was riding with two of my friends that day, and like I just like locked in. I was like, I'm getting this shit over with. Like I'm done riding this. But then, like since I had done the route before, I already knew like, you know, well, and I can see on my computer when we're getting close to town. So I like was pushing it, like kind of left my friends, but then I stopped and regrouped with them so we could all finish together. And like, that was really fun. I guess that was also a high moment. It was like camping and riding with my friends, and like we all finished together, got our picture together. That was nice. I think just like riding with like friends and like meeting new people is like the high moments. Of course, the clips the first year was awesome as well.
We'll try to arrange for another one of those. I'd love
if you
to
can make that happen, that would be great.
If another one one will come through, we might move the dates to try to align, but we'll see. Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the cool things about the lowdown, the super lowdown, is it is intentionally more chill. It gives you the opportunity to hang out, ride with people, stop and take pictures, take a dip in the Llano, get to camp, have a beer or a burger, like whatever you're into. And it allows you to kind of lean into the more experiential side of the event.
I would say like some of the most beautiful, like the sunrise is like super beautiful in the hill country. And like when one of the days leaving early, like just riding as like the colors change and the sunrises is unforgettable.
Yep.
Yeah, beautiful. Let's wrap it up with some advice for people who are thinking about doing. Obviously, you've done the showdown, you've done the lowdown. So, any advice that we haven't covered? We've covered a lot of good stuff, from heat to resupply, water, tire choices, all kinds of stuff. But any other advice for people thinking about doing it?
Don't be scared to sign up.
Don't be scared.
Yeah, don't be scared to sign up.
We got rescue drivers. We'll come get you if you need to. And that's one of the reasons I think to speak to what Andrea was talking about earlier. Like, why do a paid event? They're out there. Anybody can go do it.
Yeah.
But what I want to encourage people to do is try something harder than they've ever done before and push themselves in an environment where there's other riders out there. It's a little bit safer. Cars are going to be a little bit more aware. They're like, okay, there's a bunch of cyclists out here. And you have people that are watching your dot.
Yeah.
You have people that will come pick you up off course if you need to. And so, it's solo self-supported, go do hard things. And also there's a safety net that I think with a safety net, it allows you to feel more comfortable to push your own personal limits,
And if I can say one more thing too, like if you're struggling with like anxiety or like just things in your personal life, like these types of races, for me personally, I mean, it put me in a completely new headspace. Just being able to go somewhere that you've never gone before, life happens, stuff sucks, right? But knowing that at any route, whether that's the lowdown, showdown, or slowdown, like, man, I got there and I overcame that. That means I can do that and many other things that come up in life. So
I love that, Javian. I mean, I think that's one of the greatest benefits of what we do in this sport. And I think, like, as humans, we didn't evolve with all these like accommodations and these things in our life that make it easy. And I think we evolved and we are designed as humans to move our bodies in outdoor spaces and take in the sun and take in the environment and all these things, right? And like, when we give ourselves the opportunity to use our body in the way that for millions of years or whatever you subscribe to, a long time, we've done forever. We lock into something and we tap into something that we don't get an opportunity to in our daily life. And if you can, if you're willing, you can take that knowledge that I can do hard things. I can surprise myself. I can be fully self-sufficient. You can take that into your daily life, and it's very empowering.
It is.
It is.
Yeah, it's a great reset. Andrea, any other advice for people that are thinking about doing it?
I think like just, sign up, do something, whether it's out of you've never done bike packing before. Of course you need to be prepared and stuff like that. And but there's a great community that shows up as well. And, even before the event, there's like a Facebook chat. Like you can ask questions, you can get help to prepare you to do your first bike packing trip. Yes, it's like a big first bike packing trip, but like people do it. You can do it as well. I think it is intimidating. Like for someone that's done the lowdown, I'm like, well, what could I take to do the slowdown? The slowdown. I was like, not the other one.
Yeah.
But that is intimidating, like different, like whether it's just like the mileage of the lowdown, like 180 something miles over 3 days, or like riding, one of the biggest things that prevents me from signing up for the next level is that overnight riding. Like, how would I do not sleeping? But maybe I should take my own advice and just sign up for it. And
only one way to find out. Yeah,
for sure.
It's always going to be scary. You were just saying like signing up for the lowdown. It can be scary. It's a big first bike packing trip. That's scary. Going to that next stage is scary. It is an unknown, and there is only one way to find out, and that's just to go and do it and find out. Yep. And then you use it as information. Even if you come up short, it's still such a valuable tool, because it teaches you areas that you need to work on, and that's great training. Yep.
And I think both of us are part of teams that are like super supportive and encouraging of our development, like pushing ourselves to do hard things and like inspire us to do hard things as well.
Yeah, that's huge. And friends and family and loved ones are a great motivator too. When you know that they're watching your dot and you've told all of your friends, you're like, I'm going to go do this.
That's right.
And I don't know about y'all, but everybody's nodding their head. Yeah, you're like, I can't lay down Tim and John and Sarah and Sally and what, it's like, I've got to finish this thing off.
I know. I gave my coworkers something fun to do on Friday while they're at work watching my dot.
Watching the dot. Yeah. And they're sending you messages and stuff. Yeah. They're bored at work, and you get to be out riding your bike, and it's hard, but are y'all doing CTS this year?
Pending knee.
You have a decent excuse. That's a fine excuse, I guess.
Yeah. But I've been riding. I just want to take it really easy. I have like the bike MS and ride to end Alzheimer's like in September and October. And so if those go well and I have enough fitness to do the slowdown for CTS, how many miles is it this year? 280, 300, somewhere.
I think it's right around 300. Let me just pull up the actual routes. I did change the slowdown this year between Comfort and Kerrville. I'm actually going out to scout that tomorrow. Oh no, today. I'm going to go after this and scout that. Jennifer Reel, who lives in Kerrville and was our women's slowdown winner last year. I've gotten feedback on that section of the route, and it's not terrible, but she's like, it could be a little bit better. And so anyway, that is probably going to be changing, and the new mileage will be 293 for the slowdown with 14,473 feet of elevation.
Cool. So yeah, if everything goes well, I haven't signed up yet, right? Pending this, but if it does, I'll be at CTS, and then 100% I will be at West Texas Showdown.
November 24th, 22nd through the 24th.
I'll be there.
Right on, buddy. Which one are you going to do on that one, you think?
The big boy.
Big one. 415.
Let's do it.
415 miles.
Yeah. I'm picking up a new bike too. I saw on a podcast you just did, leave the gravel bikes at home.
Absolutely.
I'm battling between getting a suspension fork for the gravel bike, but I think I'm just going to get a cross-country mountain bike.
Just get a new bike.
Yeah, new bike. Yeah. Honestly, it's mountain bike country. Yeah. Like it is 100% mountain bike country.
Yeah, I've done a gravel bike ride in Big Bend. Like it was really
you on that group ride like 3 years ago where there was like 15 people that went or so, and they were all on gravel bikes, and like everybody was like, that was
horrible.
I mean, I did do I don't know if I did go out with friends, and we did, a bunch of us it was fun, like Old Ore Road in the national park, but like it was one of the most challenging rides I had done on my gravel bike.
And the national park is so much better maintained than the state park.
Yeah.
Like in the state park, they don't even have paved park roads. You know, like even the park roads are gravel roads. So it's pretty gnarly.
There's like an article in bikepacking.com for like River Road Ramble or something. I was like,
Jordan Vaughn did that one.
Yeah, that assessment of the difficulty is not accurate, in my opinion.
It's harder. I agree. That riding is more challenging than you think it's going to be based on where you think you are in your fitness and riding level. Like, just like whatever you think you're capable of, like reduce it by 25% or something. You know, it's like it's going to be harder.
And I also just don't think like the gravel bike is the right move for that terrain.
No.
You know, like.
Yeah, I a couple years ago, I took my gravel bike on 45s out to the ranch and rode. And it just wasn't it. I mean, I fell like 3 times going through like the washouts. You know how they have like the washouts and there's bigger rocks. It's just it's not the right bike.
Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad. Yeah, y'all are confirming what I know, and anyone who's ridden out there knows.
Yeah.
But I want people to show up with the right equipment and be prepared.
Yep.
Do you have any questions about West Texas Showdown? Are you thinking about doing West Texas Showdown? Do y'all have any questions?
Resupplies, I know it's remote more than any other Central Texas or East Texas. Like, will there be like supply drops or like what's the refuel kind of situation looking like?
Yeah, so we're going to have one aid station. Our main aid station is going to be at the Sauceda Ranger Station, which is on the interior of the state park. And it's at an intersection where you're going to ride past it. So you'll ride it going out towards Marfa, and then whenever you're coming back from Presidio back through the state park, you'll ride past it again. So it intersects the route at some critical points. We're going to have 2 water caches. One at about it's at mile 69. That just was where it landed. It's at like the West Contrabando trailhead. So we'll have a water cache there, and then one when you're leaving the state park on the north side of the state park headed up to Marfa. We'll have another water cache there, and then you just have Marfa as a resupply. You'll go all the way to Presidio as a resupply, and then that'll get you back in the state park where you'll have that aid station. And if I remember correctly, you shouldn't go more than 60 miles. I think actually the longest section without any like water resupply specifically is the first 69 miles until you get to the first water cache. That's the longest period you'll go without a water resupply at least. And I figure it's the beginning. So, you can do 69 miles at the beginning, and then from there, we'll be able to support you a little bit better. Yeah.
Cool. Perfect.
Yeah. Are you thinking about doing West Texas?
I have not thought about it. I should say that.
Or are you doing CTS?
I wasn't going to, because I was going to go out of town for a family thing, but I'm not doing that. So now I'm like, wait, now I could do it. So
you could.
Next weekend, I'm actually going to ride from Seattle, doing a ride from Seattle to Vancouver, like an event up in Washington. So I think after I get that trip out of the way, I can like have more mental space about like what I want to do. But I am available for Central Texas, so I should come out there.
3 years in a row, maybe do the slowdown. No pressure though. No pressure. Do what feels right. Yeah. Everybody should do whatever they want to do.
I do feel like I could do the mileage, but without training, maybe I should like make a stop or something like that.
And worth mentioning, because I always get this question, I get a million emails every year, but you can transfer, like you can sign up for Lowdown and switch it to Slowdown or vice versa. It doesn't matter. You can do it on Bike Reg, whatever. But you can go in and it doesn't cost anything.
You won't be on the route saying, hey, get over here.
Get over here, man. And even if you switch mid-route, I'm not going to do that. It doesn't count as a qualifying finish time, but as long as you're not trying to, podium, choose your own adventure. Do whatever you want. Let's see if I had any other. That's it. Thank you all so much for coming on the podcast. I really do appreciate it. I think this was wonderful to have a lowdowner and a showdowner, competitive, non-competitive. That's one of the things that I personally like about this event is being able to kind of cast a wider net and not just have it be so race focused, but also just use it as a mechanism to either come and chill and ride your bike just for fun with your friends or as an entry point into the sport, So I appreciate y'all coming and sharing.
I don't know if you remember at the beginning of the race, when you guys were lining up, you forgot your supply bag in your truck.
I did.
And like he had like a sheer look of panic on her face. I was like, you know what? Just give me your keys. I got it. And like
she did.
I like hid his keys and like sent the photo of where it was to like his friend and like
Oh, that's clutch.
Community supports community.
Yeah. That was helpful. I would have started like 5 or 10 minutes after the group if she would have been there.
Oh man. Yeah, that was huge. So yeah, we didn't talk about it, but there is a supply drop at the Crabapple School. I think it's around mile 67 on day 1. And that would only be for the slowdown and the showdown. And the reason for that is because the first it's like 100 or 120 miles with 0, nothing, nada. So that gives you like a supply drop, and you can bring snack, like throw it in a little bag, snacks, water, whatever you need, and we'll take it there and it'll be waiting for you at Crabapple School. So it's a good point from a strategic standpoint. All right. Podcast over.
Cool. Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you.
Thank y'all for coming in. Bye, everybody.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in today. And thank you to Javian and Andrea for coming on today's episode and sharing about their Central Texas Showdown experience. I wanted to follow up that conversation with a few notes that I thought about as I was editing it and kind of failed to talk about during the actual episode. So just some notes about the Central Texas Showdown that I think are relevant for people who are thinking about doing it. One, after this episode, I went out and scouted the roads and their conditions after the flooding that took place on July 4th. And I'm happy to report that the damage is a lot less significant than I thought, especially to the roadways. I guess I should rephrase that. What's really happened is that the city or county has come in and they have really prioritized repairing the roads and the bridges, and they've done a fantastic job. And from what I can tell by reading online and my own visual inspection, all of the roads and bridges should be finished with their construction the next couple weeks. So as far as it pertains to the Central Texas Showdown, the Central Texas Slowdown, the two routes that are impacted by the flooding, I don't think that we're going to see any long-term effects to the roads. I am still interested in the businesses along the route that may have been impacted, so I'll be doing another scouting mission before the race and updating those POIs. But just a note on the roads. One other note on roads, there are a lot of water crossings on the Central Texas routes, especially on the northern portion as you getting back closer to Castell. Be very careful on the water crossings. They can be extremely slippery. Even walking across them with your bike can be a little treacherous. Actually, in 2024, we did have one rider go down, and it wasn't even like a full proper water crossing. It was just at the end of a descent, there was a low area, and there was just a little patch of water. And they hit that patch of water. It was really slick under there, and they just went down and busted their face a little bit. They're okay, but they did go down like 5 miles from the finish line. We had to go pick them up. It was really a bummer. But I just want to put a warning out there. Be advised when crossing water that it might be slippery, and also in light of the recent floodings, just be careful on the route in general. Use good common sense around water and take care of yourselves. And just a note, take a look at the Ride with GPS files on the website, TexasShowdownSeries.com. I want to let y'all know that I do put some decent information on the route files. I put POIs in there with relevant information, but the POIs are not exhaustive. They are a starting point, and I do encourage participants to take a deep dive into the routes, make a plan, make a backup plan, know what your options are going into the route, and the better planning you do before the event, the more options you have available to yourself, I think the higher likelihood you will have a successful ride or a race. The POIs that I have on the Ride with GPS files are not exhaustive. They are a starting point, and it is up to you to take a deep dive and find what other resources might be available to you. Lastly, I just want to say that I hope we didn't in this episode make the routes seem unapproachable. There are really few resupply options. Cell phone service is limited in that area. But again, with proper planning, with knowing what your limitations are, knowing how much food and water you need to carry, knowing where your resupplies are, and a good plan, these routes are very approachable. And the remoteness is one of the things that makes these routes so great. It comes at a price. There's not as much resupply, but the payoff, a lot less traffic, dealing with people, dealing with dogs, all that kind of stuff. So you really are just out there and you get to enjoy the Texas hill country on your bike. And that's great. So any other notes? Let's see. I think that's it. I think the last thing I'll just tickle here is the West Texas Showdown. We are in full swing. I am in full swing, getting all the information available on the website and opening registration as soon as possible. So for those who are interested, I hope to have registration open within the next 30 days, but I hope to have information on the website about West Texas Showdown by next week. So things are happening. We will have a Texas Showdown Triple Crown this year. We will crown the Texas Showdown Triple Crown champions at West Texas Showdown this year. I'm so pumped. It's been 5 years in the making. It has been an absolute dream to be able to hold a event in West Texas, and this is going to be the year. So it's a big year. I'm excited. Come out to Central Texas Showdown, get stoked, and then get ready for West Texas Showdown. Thank you so much for being here. It is always a pleasure. Until next week, you know what to do. Go ride your damn bike.
It was the middle of the night. You grabbed your knife and you held it tight. The sounds of beasts kept you awake. The sounds they made kept you afraid. In the morning, you packed your bike. Memories forgotten from the previous night. You rode faster than ever before. Was it your imagination or merely folklore? Fear turned into strength as you pushed further. Every pedal stroke, stronger and firmer. Your bike feels weightless, your legs aren't tired. You think to yourself, just a few more miles. Bikes.